15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
So be key again tonight. Play action from Darnold. End zone. Touchdown Jefferson.
Heads-up play there. Justin Jefferson scoring the touchdown on Monday Night Football on ESPN, and then a tribute to Randy Moss, the legendary Vikings wide receiver who unfortunately is battling liver cancer. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We saw this game last night totally differently. And by the way, Monday Night doubleheader, I didn't really love any of the teams that I watched last night. I didn't think any of them played particularly well. The two are obviously towards the bottom of the league, and the Raiders, the extreme bottom of the league. And the Vikings are one of the top teams in the league by record. The Atlanta Falcons are still in the hunt and may overtake and may still have an outside shot to win the NFC South.
I'm a little confused. You said you watched 2 games. Are you on the coaching staff that's playing the Falcons next week? Why would you have watched any of that game? It was on my TV, don't get me wrong, but it was static. It was just like, this, like, like in a commercial when they have generic footage of football players for like a drug commercial.
Sure.
Like, and it doesn't matter. You're like, that's just
he's
a
like
fake,
not even in a
that's fake football.
uniform.
That wasn't real NFL football. The Raiders don't care at all, so why should we care? That was terrible.
It was ugly. I was thinking, who fixes this? I don't know. We'll get into that part, and you're welcome to call about it all at 855-212-4227. But let's focus in on a team that actually does have expectations and a team that you and I don't really see the same. How dangerous are the Minnesota Vikings? We just watched the Detroit Lions lose a heartbreaker to my Buffalo Bills. We watched Green Bay go into Seattle, very impressive. And then you saw the Vikings last night blow out the Chicago Bears, but the Bears have problems, and we can diagnose all of them and Caleb Williams in a moment. But how much do you really believe in the Vikings? I thought I was watching Sam Darnold kind of be off last night. I didn't see.
Did you see the third downs? I mean, it was, as Troy Aikman said, God, this is unbelievable. Like, it's 3rd and 10 every play, and he's just throwing a perfect pass.
He had some very good throws, but I thought he was off on a few. And by the way, he's got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. Like, he's got weapons. He's got things to work with here. Not to mention Aaron Jones of the run game, who was awesome last night. So
I don't know about awesome. He had a couple, but eventually he wore them today. Like, he had a lot. He was in a lot of 2nd and 9, 3rd and 10 early in the game. Like, Aaron Jones took a while to get going.
The Bears have no identity. They are so shot right now. This thing needs a full toe up, head down, whatever makeover. And this game should have been a 1-score game. If dude declares eligible, forgets the offensive lineman who's now in as a running back, forgets to declare eligible, and the Bears score a touchdown, that's a 1-score game in the 3rd quarter. If the Bears didn't do the dumbest things alive like that, some terrible holding calls, defensive pass interference calls that kept the Vikings on the field, I didn't think that this game into the 3rd quarter, this was not the blowout that it ended up looking like.
Well, yeah, but so the Bears should have scored a touchdown. They blew it. But then the Vikings decided, okay, well, we're going to try on offense and just storm down for 2 easy touchdown drives.
Were kept alive by penalties.
Well, yeah, but penalties that were like, for example,
they were obvious penalties.
Yeah, they were obvious penalties, and they were necessary to stop the guy from catching the ball. Like, they couldn't cover TJ Hawkinson. I don't know. I think the Vikings played a little sloppy, but the one thing about the Vikings, they definitely have some defensive weapons. Like, you can see that. So I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I definitely think they'll be competitive in the first-round playoffs, especially if they win the division, which is possible. Because they'll play a beat-up Lions team in Week 18. I just think with that coach, with Brian Flores and Grenard and those guys rushing the passer, I don't think they're great. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender necessarily. But, man, you think that they're going to be an easy out. Is that what you're saying? Or
I do not believe.
And Darnold, by the way, on third down, I couldn't believe some of the throws. I'm like, oh, he's in trouble right here. And then, boom, it's 25 yards down the field.
Oh, the stark difference of third down in this game was the game. The Vikings were 7 for 14. The Bears were 1 for 12 on third down. You want to talk about the anatomy of a loss.
And
Holy
fourth down. Don't forget
moly.
those two
and
fourth
1 for 3 on fourth down. And they couldn't get fourth and a yard. I mean, it was
not even close.
Brutal. Yeah. And the Bears are a mess. And again, the final score is 30-12, but this actually was a tight game into the third quarter. And it didn't feel like it, but the score reflected it. And the thing is I'm always somebody who says, you don't go for style points when you're playing a division rival. You just try to get out of there with a win. Who cares? But if we're talking about Minnesota with a chance to get the number 1 seed in the NFC that features your Eagles and the Detroit Lions, and I think we have to ask, how good are they really? And if you ask me right now, who would I put my money behind? Which horse would I back going into the playoffs from the NFC North? If you're giving me the Vikings, the Lions, and the Green Bay Packers, I'm going Green Bay right now. I think they might have the biggest upside as we head into the postseason. We got 3 games left to go in the regular season and the postseason. I actually think Green Bay might be my pick.
Oh,
and
definitely.
not might be. Green Bay is my pick.
Yeah, definitely.
They're the team. I think they're the most dangerous team. And a lot of it is because the Lions' injuries are just stacking up. And you're a Vikings believer and I'm not. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, yesterday's show, I said very declaratively the Green Bay Packers are coming out of the NFC. You could see the difference. To me, this whole playoffs is going to be who can control the game on the ground, right? Because all the good teams are now run teams. So the Lions lost David Montgomery.
Yep.
That's a huge problem.
Yep, torn ACL. Oof.
And their defense has lost a lot of defensive linemen, so they're not going to be able to stop the run. I think you saw last night the Vikings. I know Aaron Jones finally got some free. They're not a great running team. So I think the Packers with Josh Jacobs, that is going to be the story of the playoffs versus the Eagles with Saquon Barkley. I think whoever can establish a run in this division, and a lot of it has to do with home field. If it goes through the link, it's a different thing. But I think the Packers, with the way Jordan Love is playing, they've caught up to the Lions. I know they lost the last game, but you had the feeling, well, man, if Jordan Love had the ball one more time, he would have scored. So I think the Packers are going to be able to control. But the Lions are right. I do disagree. I'm not saying the Lions are a definite threat, but they're right there because of that defense. They have some guys, and Flores dials
They're
up.
hurt. The Lions are all hurt on defense.
No, I'm saying the Vikings. Sorry, the Vikings have some guys, and Flores will definitely dial up something. So he's going to keep it a close game. I don't see them getting blown out. I see them making a game a mess. And boy, I disagree on Darnold. I think he's really good. I think he's definitely top half of the league quarterback.
One thing that Brian Flores does that one of his mentors was Bill Belichick, obviously. Brian Flores comes from the Belichick tree. And one of the things that they do so well consistently is confuse rookie quarterbacks. And once you get to the postseason, unless you're playing the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, you're not going to get the luxury and the privilege of playing against a rookie QB. So, yes, these are frightening. This is a frightening defense. They fly around. But if you're giving me, I know this is not probably how it's going to stay, but let's just operate today on what the playoffs would look like if the season ended today. And it would be Minnesota as the 5 seed on the road to play the LA Rams. I'll tell you who I'm taking to that game, and it's going to be LA. So I guess I'm going to be labeled here a Vikings hater. I don't mean it to be that way. I just think matchup dependent. I think that they would lose that game, that first round game on the road. I do.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a dog, right?
Probably not by much, though.
Yeah. I think that this division, it all depends on these coming 3 games. The Vikings-Packers, and then the Vikings-Lions.
Yeah, they're beating up on each other, this division. We knew it was a great division.
I think because of who are the Lions in Week 18? If the Vikings win that game and get home field, then it's a different thing. And again, I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I definitely think they could win. What if they get the 2 seed and they're facing Tampa, for example? No, actually, they wouldn't face Tampa because Tampa's a division winner.
It could be division winner. Falcons still have an outside shot here, but they look like they're taking on.
Well, they got to get the 2 seed to get the Commanders to come to Minnesota. That is their best path. Because I would assume if the Eagles, or maybe they get the 1 seed, it's not done. Where we really disagree is I think Sam Darnold's pretty good. again, not perfect, but the stark contrast between Sam Darnold on one side and Caleb Williams on the other. Like, Caleb Williams had guys wide open, and he didn't just miss him by like a foot. He missed him by a good 8 feet.
Oh, you want to talk about the Bears? Let's talk about it. By the way, can we throw up a poll on which team do you believe in most heading down the stretch? Vikings, Lions, Packers. And we'll put the Bears not in this poll because they don't deserve to be in this poll. I found myself thinking about this last night about the Bears, but also about the Raiders because it's not the same boat, but similar boat, which is you are apparently keeping your GMs. Okay, so Ryan Poles is going to stay with the Bears, and I think Tom Telesco is probably safe with the Raiders. Maybe. I have no idea, but I think Poles is safe. You're going to need new head coaches. How do you fix this in a hurry? If you're both of these teams, you want to pause on the Bears. Caleb definitely has talent. We were not fooled by what we saw in college.
Where?
I think he has a good arm. He has an ability to move around.
You mean he can throw the ball hard? Just like, where's it going?
Well, I don't. It's an adventure.
I mean, he did one play where he was running around and doing the backward spins from USC, and I was actually thinking to myself, I'm like, whoa, those defensive guys are getting to him fast. He better throw that. He can't do all that stuff that he did in college. It's just it's not possible in the NFL because the defensive players are too fast.
And to be fair, he was missing his left tackle last night, so it's not like he had the full complement of offensive line. So I do want to be fair to Caleb, but I do think there's talent there. Who's going to fix this? Because you need not just a new offense, because this offense looks atrocious. I mean, they mentioned in the broadcast last night, and you don't need to even watch the All-22 film to see this. Guys are in the same spot. Like, wide receivers are within 5 yards of each other, which is never a good sign. It seems like they have no identity, and they have skill position players, but they've got no identity. And they started talking about this, Troy Aikman did, about how it's so important for young quarterbacks to actually spend more time learning defenses than offense. You got to understand what you're looking at, what people are trying to do to stop you, and how do you diagnose it and all of that. Like, who is this mastermind who's going to come in and help this dude?
I don't know.
Is that person out there? Because I thought Belichick should have been the guy.
That's definitely not the guy.
Obviously now that's ship sailed.
Well, Belichick, it's like, well, how can I fix my quarterback? Bring in Bill Belichick, who had that post-Tom Brady run of Cam Newton and Mac Jones. No. I mean, obviously they would want Ben Johnson, but I think Ben Johnson says, no, thank you. There was already a report that he didn't want it. Then it came out that he did want it via Schefter. I don't know. I'm not sure if Caleb Williams, can we throw the word out there? Is it possible he's a bust?
Oh, isn't it too early to say that? What about him makes you think bust?
That he had a guy, there was just one play. He had a guy, very talented receiver, streaking to the end zone, and he had a clean pocket, and he didn't just overthrow him by a foot. He overthrew him by a good 15 feet. Tim Boyle, I was watching on the Giants. Like, there's no way he misses that pass.
Tim Boyle. Well, did we have the stat yesterday that in any game he's thrown a pass in, the team hasn't won? That's an insult.
0-11.
Yeah, but he was definitely better than Caleb Williams was.
Big nut guy.
Yeah.
Was he better than Caleb Williams?
Yes, he definitely was. Like, he was hitting Malik Neighbors in stride. Caleb Williams was missing guys left and right.
But you're not going to give any grace period. The guy's in a terrible situation where they had to fire the head coach because he was at an absolute bonehead. And now they're just trying to figure it out with an interim head coach. I mean, the season's over. You're going to really judge Caleb Williams that harshly on this disaster?
I definitely do not feel comfortable going into next year. You're right. They got to get an offensive coach. This offense is a joke. He's got his left tackle situation was a disaster last night. Why did they help that poor rookie who is, I can't say his name, but he was terrible. So, yes, obviously it's a mess there. But I do think we have to open our minds to the fact that 50% of first-round quarterbacks, maybe a little less now, are bust. Maybe he's Zach Wilson. He's got some Zach Wilson traits. He certainly looks closer to Zach Wilson than Patrick Mahomes.
Wow. 855-212-4227. Second poll question. Starting to think Caleb Williams is a bust?
I mean, if he stays in Chicago, it doesn't seem, you said who's the coach, like it doesn't matter. You put that C on your helmet, you are immediately bad at quarterback. Like he's...
Yeah, but this was supposed to buck that trend. I mean, it's not
like the guy's... But
it's not like the guy's a total stiff. I mean, he won the Heisman. We watched him play in college. It's not like they should have... I don't know, you're telling me they should have drafted Jaden Daniels, or even Jaden Daniels would have looked bad in this offense.
I think it's a system thing. Yeah, I think Caleb Williams got stuck in the wrong system. Remember how we talked about it yesterday? Tom Brady said, if I had gone to Arizona, I would not have been good. Well, Caleb Williams is in Arizona. He is in the worst possible spot. And you were kind of alluding to it, like the management situation is a disaster. The president is too powerful. The GM, Brian Poles, is very, I saw the Hard Knocks. He looks very likable, but he's made some terrible decisions. They brought in all these wide receivers. They should have brought in linemen. That is obviously the first mistake. They are just a disaster, and I don't see anyone coming in and fixing it. I think they have structural problems. Same with the Raiders. Like, they have no chance. This Tom Brady thing, that's a fantasy. That's a Las Vegas fantasy.
Wow.
Like, they're selling out like the casinos. That is not a real thing that's going to happen.
We will get into that. Tom Brady, the report was he's expected to be involved in the draft process. You had fans last night holding up signs, just tank baby, It's the smart move, but it's bleak, very bleak. At least I think the Bears do have something in Caleb Williams. Right now, we have no idea with the Raiders, right? I mean, it looks like it could be Shador. If the season ended today, I believe they'd be picking first. I think they got to the top, right? I got to check the latest on Tankathon. Yeah, Las Vegas would be picking 1 over the New York Giants. So it's a race to the bottom, to the top, whatever.
Well, I think you got to... I think the thing we forget to do, we look at the players and the names, but there is a reason the Raiders have been so bad since that Super Bowl appearance. Whatever those reasons are still going to be there, even if Shador Sanders is there. Same with the Giants. And I hate to say it, same with the Bears. Like, there's something going on in the front office. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not in the building. But I don't know. Like, I just have trouble believing there's a coach who's going to come in and fix Caleb Williams. Do you think there's a guy out there?
I think they're going to make a mistake is what I think. I think they're going to do like a Cliff Kingsbury type of thing where they're just going to try to patch over the offense, not realizing you actually need like a whole shift. It's so cliche, but you actually do need the culture shift. That's why I thought Belichick would have been a good spot for Chicago if egos could have gotten out of the way and he could have come in and I think he helps a young quarterback. Listen, Mac Jones might not have been savable. Mac Jones might have just been a bad draft pick, but you give Caleb Williams and you actually do what Troy Aikman said last night. Teach him how to read a defense. I think Bill Belichick can do that. I think he helped Tom Brady do that. And it's kind of like the building blocks. You got to start from the very bottom here and learn this thing all the way. And that's what Sam Darnold said he did with Kyle Shanahan. Because people think we were talking about offense. We were talking about defense that whole year in San Francisco and how to read defenses. So, I don't think you necessarily need this like offensive whiz guy. I think you need someone to teach and develop. And I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury is that guy. Maybe he is. But
well, Bill Belichick,
I think that's where they'll go.
After Brady left in 2019, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know that they didn't win much, but I think they were bottom 10 in offense pretty consistently. So you're going to bring in a guy who could gut the offense even more? Belichick would not have made any sense to me. And I'm not even sure I want Cliff because he's a bit of a retread. But you certainly want a Ben Johnson or get as close as you can to Sean McVay. Just get somebody or Kyle Shanahan. You got to get that guy in with maybe Cliff's your best option for that. But specifically, I would want those two guys to fix. Get great play calls where Caleb Williams is in a perfect position to succeed. Bill Belichick is not that guy at all to me.
So Cliff Kingsbury obviously worked with Caleb Williams last year at USC. If you were watching USC, you always saw Cliff Kingsbury around the huddle and stuff like that. So I think there's a relationship there, which is why I'd put him as the front runner for the job if I were just picking today.
Well, if that's the case, just bring in Lincoln. Might as well. It's not going well in USC.
Yeah, well, that's true. 855-212-4227. Probably a pretty hefty buyout there. But I guess the thing is, can Caleb be fixed? You're welcome to call us. You're welcome to listen to the show on our Infinity Sports Network affiliates, who we love, on Sirius XM channel 158. Of course, you can watch us as well. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and at Maggie Gray on X. A couple fun things we got going on this week. Friday, we'll do our White Elephant Party live on the air. Get your gifts. We will also count down the 5 best moments from the Maggie and Perloff show in the year 2024. We'll do that all on Friday. And I got a Christmas question for you guys as well. Holiday question. 855-212-4227. Get it started. Do you believe in the Minnesota Vikings? And is Caleb Williams on his way to becoming a bust? It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. A lot of interesting topics coming out of that crap fest of 2 Monday night games last night. Terrible,
Wow.
Terrible product. I mean, I saw more of the officials in the Bears-Vikings games than the players, and I don't even know what, like the Falcons and the Falcons are lost as a franchise. I don't even know what they're doing. The Raiders are even worse. But you want to bring
Kadarius Hodge, another big primetime performance from Kadarius Hodge. You remember that he caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime against the Bucs, like early in the season. And then last night he's coming up with block punts and
no one
tipped
cares.
punts. Okay.
Sorry
Where did
to
he go
do
to
that.
college, though, guys?
Yeah.
For the purposes of this show.
So your idea is to bring in Bill Belichick to fix the culture in Chicago. Well, this idea, theoretical, because Belichick already hired. He was so bad offensively in New England at the end. Like, you cannot possibly. He ranked 30th the last year. He ranked 26th the year before that. Like, you need. I don't care what you do in Chicago. I don't care if your team goes 1-15. I need to finally have a 4,000-yard passer in this franchise. Just give me Caleb Williams being good, Maggie. Forget culture. Just call some plays where the guy can't miss a guy. And like, I don't know. Like, this is already a very worrisome thing. Like, you know, we think guys are guaranteed. We thought Trevor Lawrence was guaranteed. We thought Andrew Luck was guaranteed, and Caleb Williams was talked about like that. There's no guarantee. Like, this could really go south.
See, this is just like you young people today in 2024, Perloff, cutting corners, trying to skip steps. All the Bears have to do is look at the Lions, okay? We look at the Lions now, and we think Dan Campbell fixed things overnight. 3-13 the first season, right? They started the next season 0-6 or something like that. It takes a while. You can't just skip to the end. You can't just skip to the part where Caleb Williams looks like Patrick Mahomes. You got to build.
Right, but they have the best GM in the league, arguably.
Who?
Brad Holmes and the Lions. So
yeah.
he can pick nothing but superstars. The Bears are the opposite. Like, they can't make the right pick to save their life.
Well, then you need a new GM, and that's why Belichick, I think, would have helped. Now, I know Belichick can't pick a receiver to save his life.
Belichick, wait.
But see,
that's Belichick can't GM at all.
Okay, so here's the thing about the Belichick conversation. We got to come to some kind of consensus here about how we're going to talk about Bill Belichick and his career in the NFL. Because if you're going to take from washed Cam Newton to bust Mac Jones, then I'm never going to have a leg to stand on here. And Cam Newton was over, and Mac Jones was just a reach that was bad. He got either sold a bill of goods by his good friend Nick Saban, or Mac Jones couldn't hack it, or Mac Jones was going behind the coaching staff's back, going back to Alabama asking for help. There was a lot of stuff that happened. But can we please take the first 22 years that Belichick was in New England? Like, you can't just throw all that out. But if you're just going to throw Cam Newton and Mac Jones in my face, then we're never going to agree about Belichick.
Well, for the most part, though, I don't think Belichick was offensively oriented. Just and that's not even a dig. Like, he except for that 1 year in 2007, he wanted to win with all, three phases,
Sure.
special teams, defense, offense. He never wanted to put the gas on the offense. Like, he would pull it back, and like
Totally.
he was all about getting the W. So that's what I'm saying. Like, style wise, I'm not sure Bill Belichick kind of fits where I would go with Caleb Williams.
But here's the thing. This Bears team has no phases. They don't have offense. The defense is suspect, and the special teams is suspect. So can we get one phase going correctly here?
I don't remember the special teams being particularly suspect. They had a nice punt return that was called back on a block for the back. Like,
The franchise that gave you the double doink.
Yeah, the special teams is whatever. The defense, and also the defense has some pieces.
There are some pieces there.
There's some pieces, but I don't think it's a great question. Like, who do you bring in? How do you fix this? It's going to be hard. Like, we have to talk about front office negligence with these teams. Like, it can't be that the Giants are just bad every year. Like, there's got to be something structural going on here. Same with the Raiders, and now the same with the Bears. It can't be an accident that the Bears never have a good quarterback. Like, it's just like, are they just picking the wrong guys? Is it too cold? Like, something is going on front office wise where they're just, I don't know what it is. Like, they just can't get it right. And I'm not confident that they're going to hire some white knight to come in and save this offense.
I'm right with you. And I don't think Kingsbury or Ben Johnson, who's never called a coin flip before, is necessarily going to be the guy. I just don't know. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Jeff's in Minnesota. How you feeling today, Jeff?
Oh, I tell you what, just really quick, I think Darnold landed exactly where he needed to be with the Minnesota Vikings. I think KOC is a perfect quarterback coach.
Yeah.
as far as Belichick, I think he landed perfect in UNC because they got a pretty easy outlook next year. And you know what? I think he wrote in his son for coaching next year or two, so that's good there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Vikings really, really made me nervous last night watching them play. I got to tell you the truth. I went to bed at the end of the third quarter.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking, and I was looking, and I was looking, and I says, hey, this is the Chicago Bears you're playing, and you're struggling like that? So
that's
I
what I saw, Jeff. You and I
Yeah.
saw a similar thing. Jeff, can I ask you a question about what the vibe in Minnesota what's the vibe on J.J. McCarthy? He's just out of sight, out of mind. Did everyone forget about J.J. McCarthy?
Well, right now I'm going to tell you something. The vibe is a lot of people want him to start next year.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what, dudes? We haven't even seen the best of Sam Darnold yet. To me, he's a diamond in the rough, still growing.
Interesting.
So it's going to be tough. I think they ought to give him $110, $120 million for a few years and see if he's going to take it. I think he's going to take it. I think he loves KOC.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, I get it. He should love KOC. I mean, that's a really good marriage for Darnold, whose, career has been on life support many times and now looks like a thing.
So Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated, reported that Sam Darnold will get Baker Mayfield money with inflation. So that could be 3 years, $115 million. Here's the issue. It's not about the money. It's about the time. They have plenty of cap space. It's about the time. Like how long are you going to wait for J.J. McCarthy? Because you have that rookie deal. You want to take advantage of that. So you want to get J.J. McCarthy in. But, man, I would not. I wouldn't let Sam Darnold out of the building if I was them because you have no idea with J.J. McCarthy.
You don't. And obviously we know suffered the knee injury and then had to have a second procedure that there's a little question about. But, I mean, this is obviously not career ending.
Can we have a little honest talk just between us here? I mean, if it was an open draft and you saw Sam Darnold at 6'4" running around like a gazelle and throwing all over the place, and you saw J.J. McCarthy, who had barely threw the ball in college, who would you draft first? At 27, I think 32 teams would take Sam Darnold if they didn't know the background.
855-212-4227. I think that was a dig at Belichick. That was a dig, Belichick.
He's a bum.
I think Jeff was taking a dig there.
He's right, by the way. North Carolina does have the secret sauce for college football. It's not like your quarterback. It's getting the easiest schedule possible. That's how you determine who gets to the playoff. And, man, they play nobody. Then 2 years from now, they have a really hard schedule. So he's got to get in there, win this year, give it to Steven, go back to the NFL. Boom.
Wow, he's got a lot to do in the next couple of years. He's a busy guy.
I mean, they look at their schedule. Like, if he could beat Maryland on at home, like in October, then he's fine.
Maryland taking a shot. Bogusch
Actually,
has
not Maryland. They don't play Maryland. They're in the wrong
they
conference.
play Clemson.
Not this year.
They don't. They play.
Or they do?
I thought Clemson is the one team they do play this year, and they miss everyone
in
else.
North Carolina. Okay.
I think they miss Miami. They miss Louisville. Man, I didn't realize I had to have the North Carolina Tar Heel schedule.
They start with TCU.
Wow. Memorized. Uh-oh.
Well, I think, all right, so TCU, that's a hard game to start the season, but it's in Chapel Hill. Then the Charlotte 49ers, not the San Francisco 49ers, Richmond, UCF, Cal, in Berkeley. That might be tough. NC State, you're right, Clemson in Chapel Hill, Duke, Stanford, Virginia, Syracuse, Wake Forest. I don't know. It's going to be...
I don't know what to make of that schedule.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's definitely easy. It's definitely one of the easiest in the country.
Mrs. SMU, Mrs. Louisville, Mrs. Miami.
I mean, listen, there were 2 ACC teams in the thing, almost 3 this year. So he has a shot. I think that caller was exactly right. Like, Bill knew, you said all along, Bill knew what he was doing.
Definitely. He's calculated on this. We've got a Bill Belichick update for you, by the way. But Bogusch has headlines on this Tuesday. What's up, folks?
Guys, good morning. These headlines sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code PRIMETIME.
Do you believe that?
And get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Yes, Falcons Raiders was everything we imagined.
Ritter in the shotgun. Gets the snap. Hands it. Madison in some trouble. He didn't get out of the end zone. It'll be a safety. That push up front from the Falcons defensive line has been almost impossible to overcome.
Kevin Kugler on Westwood One. The Falcons D smothering Desmond Ridder and the Raiders 15-9. Atlanta had 3 takeaways on top of that safety. They blocked a punt and a point after. They stay within a game of the Bucs atop the NFC South. The Vikings, meanwhile, join the Lions on 12 wins with that 30-12 decision over the Bears. 7 straight wins for Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell's team had a double-digit lead for the last 50 minutes of this one, but it didn't feel that good to the head coach.
Kind of felt grimy at times tonight, just with their ability to, make some plays defensively, and then with our penalties and things like that. So there's a lot to clean up, which as a coach that's of a 12-2 football team, you love that.
The Vikings lose this tie with the Lions for now, since Detroit won their first meeting this season. The return game in Motown is Week 18. More pressing right now for the Lions is their crumbling roster. Running back David Montgomery, D-tackle Aleem McNeil, suffering season-ending injuries in Sunday's loss to the Bills. Mike Tomlin said yesterday the Steelers are optimistic. TJ Watt plays Saturday against the Ravens after rolling his left ankle late in their loss in Philly. Now, those Eagles on a 10-game win streak. The Sixers on a 1-game run.
Now only 5 seconds on the reset. Maxey spins. Maxey drives. Cross court. Paul George. 3-pointer in the air. It's good. PG for 3. Maxey with a kick. And Paul George with a corner 3. And the Sixers go up by 11.
Here they come, Pearl. Tom McGinnis, Sixers radio. Paul George, a Sixers high 33 points. 40 from Tyrese Maxey in a 121-108 win in Charlotte. Joel Embiid, of course, did not play because of that broken eye and or sinus from Friday. He'll miss at least a week with that.
Wait, they beat the Hornets?
Yeah.
Oh, that's barely a JV team. That's
Manny, you've had a lot of attitude during this update. Have you noticed that, Bogusch?
Yeah.
When you said 15-9, he openly laughed at you.
Yeah, he's not handling the mornings well, if I want to let you guys know.
Rough adjustment, Manny?
He's spreading misinformation. I don't know what he's talking about.
You're the youngest of the bunch, and you're walking around complaining about how old it is. You thought today was Thursday.
I did
It's
think today
only
was Thursday.
Tuesday. There's a lot of grumbling and grunting in your desk in the morning.
I do notice you look like you're in a small bit of a daze most moments. A little sleep deprivation.
Just for the first hour or so.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I had to stay up and watch 15-9. Great
Didn't have to.
NFL. Well, you're not wrong.
And also, Manny fires off the meanest tweets at night. Oh, my God. You're like a sketch, how vicious you are.
That's when the thoughts come out.
And Manny also is the only one who shows up with breakfast, having eaten breakfast.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good. A little avocado BLT this morning. Just delicious.
So you have time. You're up and out. It's not like you're rushing to get here for making it right under the gun.
I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist back here. It's not exactly, lots of work that I have to do.
Football highlight. I'm ready.
Yeah,
we've got more for you to do, Manny. Just wait till the new year. We didn't want to pile it all on you at once, but you might want to get a notebook.
Oh, delicious.
A binder, a folder, a couple colored pencils.
The Clippers smoked the Jazz last night, 144-107 behind 41 from James Harden. The Pistons topped the Heat, 125-124 in overtime. Cade Cunningham, 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 18 assists. More accolades yesterday for Travis Hunter. He was voted first-team All-America at cornerback and all-purpose player, second-team choice at wide receiver. And women's number 1, UCLA, took care of Cal Poly last night, 69-37. The Bruins now followed by South Carolina and Notre Dame in the new top 25. The Irish moving up 5 spots after knocking off UConn. Those Huskies dropping from 2nd to 4th because of that loss. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you. Yes.
It's funny. A score can't be funny in itself, but the Falcons beating the Raiders 15-9 is funny. I don't know. Just like immediately, like you can't help but guffaw at that score and that result. Like that's some bad football.
Somehow, if the Bucs lose this division, that would be an all-time just brutal. I know there's very little expectations probably on either of these teams, but that would just be brutal. I mean, the Falcons are terrible. We're just waiting for them to go to Michael Penix. I don't even know if he could save anything.
Well, yeah, but they beat the Bucs twice, so
the
Bucs
have the tiebreaker.
The Bucs have to be very careful that they don't let this thing get up tied because the Bucs look like a real good team. The Falcons, you're right. Put in Penix. What's going on? Maggie, do you have any power to do this?
Let me call up everyone I know at the Falcons. They're winning games. They're not going to switch them out even if they're winning 15-9. it's still a dub.
I mean, even the winning games thing is recent, right? Didn't they just
That's
lose
true.
the last few games?
Yeah, they didn't make a change then, and Kirk Cousins couldn't hit the ocean.
True.
If Penix looks really good, I still think I said Penix there.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think you're
that
good.
one was clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Bucs have the Cowboys in Dallas. Now an interesting game. They host the Panthers and they host the Saints. So they have to run that table and not let Atlanta in there.
Because the Falcons have, I think, 2 easy games in the Commanders.
Wow, the NFC South battle. It's what makes December.
Michael Penix.
Do you remember when Brady made the playoffs at like 7-9 the last year there?
Michael Penix. That one I messed up.
Yeah. Like
We've all done
ones
it
too.
Actually, maybe we don't want Penix to start. Let's think this through, Maggie.
Yeah, the FCC is really has their fingers crossed that they stick with Cousins. 855-212-4227. I guess it's just anatomically I was correct.
Manny will have some real work if Michael Penix gets put into the starting lineup.
Well, I do know.
Wake up,
Time for
Manny.
breakfast.
I have to be honest. I watch a lot of football in the house, and my daughter's sitting there, and there's a lot of this one. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, erectile dysfunction cream commercial throughout the game, like all weekend. They kept showing this. I'm like, is that okay to show for
Wait, a
kids?
cream?
Yes.
I thought it's
Have
a
you guys
pill.
not noticed that? It was on last night too. No, there's a new thing. It's a lotion, and it's on.
Manny's nodding very knowingly.
Yeah, it's on every game, and I'm like, my daughter's looking at this commercial. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you right now.
Like apply it on your arm or something? I'm
I was
confused.
going to say, is that less about
You
the
guys
cream
haven't
and
seen
how
this
it's applied?
commercial? Oh, you guys must not watch the commercials. It's on like 6 times a football game.
I don't know if I'm paying attention
Yeah.
close enough to know whether it was pill form or cream form.
Well,
What is this, Barry Bonds with the clear and the cream?
You guys
Falco
haven't
giving
seen
this
this?
out.
It's called Invegro or something.
My brain turns to mush as soon as those commercials start. The only one that even gets my attention is LeBron and Kevin Hart.
Also, what took him so long to get to a cream?
So, something tells me I'm not in the target demo for that one. So I think that one just kind of goes over my head.
They have sometimes, though, it doesn't matter about the Target demo. There will be like sometimes feminine products that somehow slip into a football game. I'm like, who in this audience is buying tampons?
I actually have an issue with this commercial because, again, like when you're going to do one of those drugs, like to have it vague, like have a guy throwing a football through a tire, and we'll make the connection.
It's 2 people sitting in matching tubs.
I can't believe you guys haven't seen. Maybe it says something about me. I'm not Googling it. I want to Google it to tell you guys what the product is, but I can't because that is a Google search that will lead to bad places.
The name sounds familiar, but I have no recollection of a cream to fix
That's
that
what I'm
problem.
saying. I always thought it was a pill.
Okay, just watch a game on Thursday night or Saturday or Sunday. There will be this commercial will run 10 times.
Will it also clear your psoriasis?
Yeah.
Also, most of the commercials. It's a serious thing. 855-212-4227. Thank you, Bogusch. All right. Lots more to do. I do have a Christmas question for all of us, but first we got to solve this Caleb Williams thing. Is he on his way to becoming a bust? MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Getting to the bottom of some of these commercials that they're running during these games, because sometimes the commercials are actually more interesting than the game, which is saying something. But that's what happens when you got the Raiders and the Falcons squaring off on a Monday night doubleheader. Yeah. Final score 15-9 in that barn burner. And right now the Raiders are in the driver's seat for the number 1 overall pick. But, you know, Tom Brady being involved, them needing a quarterback. I mean, I feel like Raider fans, there's just no hope right now. Because even if you bring in Shador or Cam Ward or whoever's going to end up being at the top of this pile, Pearl, do you have the infrastructure besides Brock Bowers? And when Max Crosby gets healthy again, do you have the right GM in place? Do you have the right everything? You know, the Raiders have been a revolving door.
That's a hard no, Maggie.
No, so are the Giants, by the way. If the Giants end up with the number 1 pick, I don't feel any better about them.
You know what I'm really interested in, too, is I think Shador Sanders is probably a bit of a polarizing prospect not because of who his dad is or anything. Like, we just haven't seen him consistently against top competition. Colorado's been they're just a weird team. Like, the whole dynamic. He looks really, really good, but are we totally sure that'll translate against the best competition? I think it's an unknown.
I don't have that much of an issue about that. I think Shador, listen, it's always a projection, right? Yeah. So I think if you believe Travis Hunter is going to be able to hack it at the next level.
Oh, he's such an athlete. There's no way he fails.
Right. But again, you could say the same thing. Who's the competition that he's playing against? Did you think it was subpar? So Not subpar. That's way too harsh. They're still playing in a major conference. I don't have a problem with either of them coming out of the Pac-12 than Big 12.
Well, yeah, I just don't think like this. Everyone's saying this is a bad quarterback class. I just don't think Shedeur is the same. I hate to say this because he doesn't look great, but he's not like Caleb Williams as a prospect at all. I think it's this is more about demand in the quarterback class. Like if Shedeur was in last year's draft class, I think he would have been in the mix, not like a surefire number 1 overall. He probably would have gone 4th. Actually, I don't even know. He might have gone 5th or 6th, still first round. But I mean, if it goes Shedeur, Cam Ward, how does that compare to this year where you had 6 guys in the first 12 picks?
Yeah, what's funny about this upcoming draft, though, and we're not trying to fast forward here past the playoffs. We know we have a lot of football left to go, but since the Raiders played last night and that's all they have going for them right now is who's actually going to be the quarterback next year, there's a lot of demand right now at the top of the draft because you got a lot of teams here that need QBs. You got Vegas. You've got the Giants. What's Carolina doing? Has Bryce Young won that job? Tennessee, Cleveland, EJ's New York Jets.
Oof.
Can I offer you the New Orleans Saints who might want to refresh at QB? What's going on in Indianapolis? Are they actually going to stick with Anthony Richardson? And then we go even further down,
I think
Arizona, what's going on with Seattle? Like, there's just a lot of teams that have questions at QB.
Seattle's an interesting one. But I think Anthony Richardson's younger than half the guys in this class still. So I think that they could build around him. But you're right.
He can't complete a pass right now. I mean,
yeah, but it still looks pretty. Nobody throws a nicer ball than it. It's always like 2 feet off, too. It's not that far. I feel like if you squint, you can see an NFL quarterback. No, but it does feel like I'm seeing narratives. It's going to be the Raiders and Giants, 1, 2, and those are the 2 quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. And then it might be no more first-rounders. I mean, we'll see if Jalen Milroe is even in the draft. Drew Aller went back yesterday to say he's going back to Penn State. I'm just not sure that there's going to be anybody there. I mean, if you're Tennessee, take a team like Tennessee, where do you turn? To Derek Carr? Maybe you pay up for Sam Darnold?
Maybe they're in the mix for Darnold. But I think if all things are equal, Darnold probably goes back to Minnesota if Minnesota wants him back, if they're not just going to turn the page to McCarthy, who they drafted in the first round last year. Kevin is our friend in San Antonio. Kev, what do you think about Caleb Williams?
By Caleb Williams, good morning, people. I think the Bears overall they need to rebuild their whole franchise. They're on life support. They're on intensive care.
Hey, wait, Kevin, hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. Can I switch gears for a second? Kevin, did you send us a picture of nachos to Maggie and Perloff at gmail.com?
Oh, yeah.
Where are these from?
Oh, I cooked them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. They look great. This is your specialty here. I'm going to show them to Perloff.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you, texting to our email address has been a revelation. Kevin, thank you so much, dude. We'll check in with you again later. Phil in Pennsylvania is sending us pictures of his hair in all different colors. The nachos from Kevin. I got a picture of somebody's cats the other day. By the way, thank you for keeping them all clean. And I realize I just said that.
There goes into that.
I think Google has a thing where they filter out. Michael Pennis, thank you. See, Manny's awake. What did I just do there? I'm not inviting that. I just...
Same thing you did with Ray Davis is what you just did just now.
What did I do about Ray Davis?
Oh, you said he's not going to fumble, remember?
Oh, I said that yesterday. I knocked on wood. Are these jalapenos here on these nachos?
Don't try and change the subject, Maggie.
Kevin, well, only critique, small critique. Got to melt the cheese. I think he was on his way to melting it. I don't think this was the
Definitely
finished product.
Definitely got to melt the cheese.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm more of a actual cheese person, or not actual cheese, but no cheese sauce. You need to actually grate cheese and melt it. I don't need it melted down so much to where it's like a sauce.
I agree, but if you're at a sporting event, you kind of just have to take what they have. It's usually something that's coming out of a pump.
Yeah, that stuff. Get that out of here. I don't rock with the cheese dip, the cheese sauce. No, give me some real cheese. Melt some Monterey Jack.
What about queso, though? Like, queso's kind of melted cheese.
Queso is
it's
like
real cheese.
Queso is a different conversation because queso is real. Like, they like especially down in Texas, I've been to Austin, they take it seriously.
Two different Mexican foods.
That movie theater, sports stadium crap that they give you, those are not nachos. Get that out of here.
What about on a cheesesteak? Cheese whiz.
I'm a provolone guy.
Figures.
Gotta do provolone.
I like how Manny stuck that in. We say two Americas, two Mexicos. Tex-Mex and then Mexican food, right? 855-212-4227. We've got more on the NFC North.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Offset eye, Darnold under center. Snap, spin, handoff. Jones slicing over the right guard. Touchdown, Minnesota. He'll leap into the stands as he used to do at Lambeau. Now does it in Minnesota. And the Vikings build on their lead. 19-3 late in the third.
Kevin Harlan on Westwood won. The Vikings win, but in the words of their head coach, it felt grimy. These division games, not easy, and especially with the Bears. I mean, this should have been even a bigger blowout than it was. Welcome to the show, Maggie, Perloff. Here's the facts, though. The facts are Philadelphia, Detroit, and Minnesota now are all basically tied for the number one seed in the NFC, but Detroit holds the tiebreakers over both of those teams. Now, Minnesota can still win out and win the division, Pearl. They could still get the number one seed. There's a possibility because Minnesota and Detroit face each other in Week 18.
Yeah, I think that's pretty big for Minnesota. If they, they're lower in the Super Bowl odds. If they want even a chance at this thing, it seems like they need to be home, and they need a bye would be great for them. They have to hope the Lions get beat up. Hey, the Eagles could get beat up very easily. Saquon always feels like one cut away from a sprained ankle.
I don't know. Eagles are looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, but my point is like the Vikings. Yes, they're not as talented as the other contenders. But injuries are going to be a huge part of this season. Look at the Lions. Look at Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. You never know. So I think the Vikings really desperately want that number one seed in home field. Then we can talk. Because if they get the bye and you have to come through Minnesota, at least they're interesting.
More interesting, I guess. But to be honest, and I know this is a very different team than a couple years ago, the one that had Kirk Cousins, but that team got a home game in Minnesota. The New York Giants came in with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and beat the brakes off of them. So it's not that I'm holding that against them. This is a much better team. I'm acknowledging that. It is. But if you're asking me who in the NFC North do I actually trust to make a run in the playoffs, it's not the Vikings. And, kudos to Sam Darnold because he has played much better. He's resurrected his career, all those things. But I didn't think he was awesome last night. And again, it's a division game, so maybe you're not going for style points, but good grief. I mean, the Bears are terrible, and they were gifting you stuff. They were committing penalties left and right. I mean, they're just straight up bad right now. It's a sorry state for the Chicago Bears. And I still feel like the Vikings had a really tough time putting them away. Final score be damned.
Well, I think the score was 10-0, and Darnold threw a perfect about 35-yard pass to Justin Jefferson, who's standing at the 1-yard line, hit him right in the chest, dropped it. Then the next play on fourth down, he threw a pick. If Jefferson, I don't know how Jefferson dropped that. He never drops anything. Touch that, they go up 17-3 or 17-0, and the game could have been a lot easier. You're right. They did seem to muck it up somehow. But I'm sure the live odds were never anything but like 1,000-1 that the Vikings were going to win that game. Did you ever feel for 1 second like the Bears were going to win it?
No. No. I was surprised. I've been surprised by the Bears in a lot of different ways. I was surprised that the Bears actually were able to come back on the Lions on Thanksgiving before they botched the end of that game. I've been surprised that the Bears have quite frankly been this bad.
Well, they've totally given up.
It's a season from this is just turn the page. And the question about the Bears, and you alluded to it, you said it, you're questioning now whether Caleb Williams is actually going to pan out. We put a poll up right now at Maggie and Pearl on X. Are you starting to think Caleb Williams is a bust? Right now, 63% of you still say no, it's too early, but 37% say yes, I'm seeing bad signs. It's a heavy lift to ask a coach to come in here, especially if you're going to give the job to a coach who's never been a head coach before. and you're going to keep the GM and you're going to say, all right, now go compete in the toughest division in the NFL. That's going to be hard. This is not going to happen overnight.
Well, you say that, but what about the last 40 years at that position for this team? I mean, it seems like there's more than just this particular situation. Feels like they've been doomed. I mean, maybe Jay Cutler was promising for about 3 weeks, but they've never had a 4,000-yard passer. At some point, we got to say it's the team, not the quarterbacks that are coming through here.
Yeah, but, I've watched other teams turn it around. I'm watching the Lions, who were perennial bottom dweller laughing stock, who now are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I know they're injured now. I watched my Buffalo Bills be horrible. You're talking about missing on quarterbacks and missing on head coaches. They could write the book on it. And look at them now. So I've seen quarterbacks turn around franchises.
Well, I mean, listen, the Bills had 4 Super Bowl runs under Jim Kelly. Like the
35 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like
there's a lot of time in between.
The Bears had Jim McMahon, like in 1986. Like that's the last time they were dangerous, and they had 1 year where Jay Cutler was okay. But generally, there's something going on there. It's just I don't know if it's the wind. I don't know what it is, but everyone thought Caleb Williams was finally going to fix it. I think it's more likely that it doesn't work, and maybe he has his success somewhere else.
You're forgetting about the Rex Grossman Super Bowl year.
Oh, my. Leave me the Devin Hester Super Bowl year.
That's a better way to put it. 855-212-4227. Kevin is in Oregon, wants to weigh in on Caleb Williams. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
We're great. What's up?
Good. Well, I think Caleb Williams can't read defenses because he's running for his life. I mean, he's getting sacked, knocked down, or pressured 15 to 20 times a game, which pretty much leaves him running for his life. So I don't think we know what kind of quarterback he can be. But what I do know is the Bears need to get themselves an offensive line. That's where they need to spend their money because if they can't protect him, the kid's never going to have a chance to become a good quarterback. The other thing they need is a decent running back. They don't need a great running back, but they need a decent running back because if they can't run the ball at all, I mean, it's not like they're in any of the defenses are going to believe a play action. So I think that's what they need. I think they need to spend their money on the offensive line and a running back. Yeah. I actually think he can be a good quarterback still.
Kevin, thank you. This is why you can never complain when your team takes an offensive lineman in the first round of the draft. It's like what the Chargers did, and what you can never complain about it because you always need it. Now, Braxton Jones, he is injured. So he was missing his left tackle last night. They did use a first-round pick on Darnell Wright. Right. They have a second-round pick in Tevin Jenkins. They've got guys they brought in from the Rams in San Francisco. So it's, listen, it's not, the offensive line's not good enough. Now we're getting into the weeds on the Bears. Yeah. But there's a lot of places that need help.
We were mentioning our friend Mike Lombardi, who's now the North Carolina GM. He's consistently killed them for taking Rome Odunze at number 9. Instead of an offensive lineman. I don't know exactly which offensive lineman, but I agree with that caller. Just they're going to have a high pick again this year. There's, do not take another wide receiver. Please, just stop. Stop. I think there is a consistent lesson. You got to build from the inside out. We saw Atlanta last night on TV. They have totally done it the wrong way. They keep on drafting skill position players. Line. What makes the Eagles so great? What makes the Lions so great? What makes actually your Bills so great with their offensive line look fantastic on Sunday. So I totally agree. Like use that pick on a tackle, just like keep rotating him in. I'm not sure Braxton Jones is the future there. And Darnell Wright, I think he's going to stay at right tackle. So if they're the 5th pick, there's some tackles in this year's draft. I would get another one.
So right now, if the season ended today, the Bears would be picking 9th. Again, You're going to have an opportunity there, hopefully, to take a tackle. The problem is, and we talk about this every draft season, because the way the college game is right now, apparently it's made it extremely difficult to scout offensive linemen. That's become a big issue. But
listen, Joe Alt looks pretty good. And I don't know how J.C. Latham, the other top 10 lineman, looked last year. But they're number 9, but they're definitely losing out. There's no way the Bears are beating anybody. So they could move up to 4, 5, 6 easily.
We have another question out there for you on X. And the question is, if you were going to back one NFC North team, who do you believe in the most headed down the stretch? And right now, the Vikings have a small lead in this poll. Now, you and I both said Packers. We rarely agree on anything, but we agree on this. Packers, they're polling last right now. They're the third-party candidate. It's the Lions and the Vikings who are going neck and neck at 38 and 36%. I disagree with the public on that one.
Yeah.
with y'all.
Yeah, I lean Packers, but I think the Lions are going to be right there too. The Vikings they're definitely third. They need everything to fall right. I think you're discounting their secret sauce a little bit.
Whose?
The Vikings.
Who's that?
I think it's Brian Flores' blitzes and Jonathan Grenard coming off the edge. Like maybe their defense can cause a lot of problems for somebody. My sense of Brian Flores is that it's a lot matchup dependent. Like some teams just cannot figure him out. Some teams can figure him out. So you assume a playoff level team will have an answer for those blitzes. But you saw it last night. The Vikings can get after you. So that I think will be the key to them. You're right. Sam Darnold's not Patrick Mahomes, but I think he's a top half of the league quarterback right now. And I'll take that. They have to get pressure. If they get pressure on the opposing quarterback in the playoffs, even they could cause problems, say my Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Like Hurts is not good when he gets pressured.
Okay, that's fair. I think this year, Brian Flores is a very good defensive coordinator. What I'm about to say is going to seem like that's I'm throwing cold water on that. But if you look at some of the better quarterbacks that they've played against, they're still in really tight games. They're still allowing points here. Right? Their signature win right now is definitely against Houston, right? This was early in the year. They beat them 34-7. But some of these other wins, it's like against these quarterbacks that stink. Congratulations, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Tennessee. You beat Chicago twice, Arizona, Atlanta. You have losses, and the Jets. You have losses when it comes to Detroit and the Rams. I guess they also beat San Francisco. So San Francisco and Houston early in the season.
They also picked off Love 3 times in that game early in the season.
Right, but they won 31-29. That was a close game.
They were up 28-7 or whatever. Like it was a blowout before Love started padding some stats at the end.
Also, the Rams game, that was the Sam Darnold face mask game, right?
Was that game?
It was.
Yeah. So that game was really close. Yeah, no, they're going to be in some close games too.
This is what I'm getting at. When you get to the playoffs, and again, I think Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator, but the level of quarterback is going to go up.
Totally.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Especially if you're facing the Rams in the first round, or if the playoffs started today, you would have to go to LA to face the Rams, and then, in the second round, you would get Jared Goff.
I think the Rams can beat anybody on a given day. They're great.
Same.
Yeah, no, they're a really good team, but they're not guaranteed to make it, by the way. They have to beat Seattle.
So the quarterbacks left on the NFC side, if the playoffs were today, so you've got the Rams and Stafford, you've got Goff and the Lions, you've got Jordan Love and the Packers, Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, Jaden Daniels, not your average rookie, but again, still a rookie QB with Washington, and then Jalen Hurts. This is not a bad, group of QBs.
No, I think the Vikings are kind of built to be in a close game. So I just don't think they get blown out like they did with Kirk Cousins and the Giants. Again, you get any of those teams into Minnesota, then the Vikings definitely have a shot. Listen, they're way down in the odds. Like Vegas does not view them as a Super Bowl contender. I think there's obviously reasons, because you're right, their schedule's been terrible, but so is the Lions and the Packers. They've all feasted off the AFC South.
I just wonder if there's a chance for Minnesota to climb in those Super Bowl odds depending on what they do the next 3 weeks. Because listen, there's a possibility that they could have the number one seed in the NFC. You're telling me they're still going to be plus, 1,000 or whatever they are, 1,600?
Well, to do that, they'll have to beat Green Bay at home, and then they'll have to go to Detroit in Week 18 and win. So that would prove a ton. Feel like they'll be playoff tested. Yeah, I can tell already you're a bit nervous for those Vikings fans for those two games.
Definitely.
I have a feeling like that Packers game will be a dogfight. That'll just be a battle. I think that'll come down to the end.
Something about this Packers season starting to remind me a lot of last year's Packers season. Maybe they're one of those teams who just takes a while to kind of get going. Let's not forget Jordan Love gets hurt in the first game of the season and then got hurt again. And so maybe now they're starting to find the stride. And again, it's division games, so you don't want to talk about style points, but I just wasn't that impressed last night with Sam Darnold. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including your calls on the NFC North, your calls on Caleb Williams. Perloff has opened the door to Caleb Williams being a bust.
That door is wide open. I honestly, I feel like he should be watching Sam Darnold. Like, ooh, okay, so I can
scouting his fourth team?
No, struggle for 5 years, then get to the right coach on the right team and just ball out. Because I know Caleb Williams has tons of talent. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about that Bears team and just the curse of the quarterback.
855-212-4227. Lots more to do, including I do have a Christmas question for you guys because I've run into something with my family, and I'm curious if you've run into it with yours. Get to that in a minute, but first we have this.
All right, Maggie, it's December. That means all the sports are going on, and what makes that even better? It's Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching all your favorite sports. Over 10 million members, billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports very accessible to all. It's so easy. Just pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. I love it when you get football. You could do a little Kirk Cousins under. There's just so many fun things to do.
Well, not to give away the secret sauce here, but the strategy for Prize Picks in this Picksmas season is a less than on everything that has to do with the Raiders. This is just our little gift to you. It's a little bit of a tip. The Raiders, combine that maybe with a little Hornets, Perloff's 76ers, and less than is the new thing for Picksmas and Prize Picks. Did you guys know that the app is now available to play in more than 40 states, including California and Texas? All you got to do is download it. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code MNP. Get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break.
Inner power, but wait, hold up, no seat in sight. Her chair is gone this quiet night. Odyssey's finest, infinity's pride. Now Amy's pacing, no place to slide. She scans the room, but it's just air. A burning question, who took my chair? Ooh, who stole Amy's chair? Was it Zach Gell with his innocent stare? Or Ryan Hickey with his towering hair? It's not people he's never there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? Zach says, hey, I didn't steal, I never messed with Amy's wheels. Ryan's hair is high and proud, but he swears he's innocent, yelling out loud, I got no motive, I'm just tall. His hair almost scrapes the studio wall, but Amy's still standing, no time for lies. Someone's gonna pay, no more alibis. No stole Amy's chair. Was it Zach Gell with his innocent stare? Or Ryan Hickey with his towering hair? It's not people he's never there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? The chair is gone, Amy's on fire. Infinity Sports has one desire: return the throne before the show, or Amy's wrath will surely glow. Who stole Amy's chair? Zach and Ryan, do you even care? Is it hidden under Hickey's hair? Or maybe Gub's got it, he swears, I swear. It's not Pete Bellotti, he's still not there. Somebody fess up, who stole Amy's chair? So if you see a chair on the go, rolling around on some late night show, called Infinity Odyssey 2, Amy's coming, and she's looking for you. sports world today. Maggie and Perloff exposing the play. Mascots cheating, love on the run, while Peter Belotti's nowhere. Again, what fun! Benny the Bull's been sneaking with flair, but where's Belotti? He's just not there. Grady's caught with the Philly-style kiss. Meanwhile, Pete's still on the absentee list. Mascot scandals, love in disguise. Belotti's missing, no surprise. Zach Jobs got Amy Lawrence's chair. No one's safe in this office affair. Philly fanatics been double timing with Stuff the Dragon. Sparks are flying. Bernie Brewer's been drinking too much. Caught with the moose, can't keep out of touch. Back at the station, jumps on the prowl. Snatched Amy's chair with a victorious howl.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, back on Maggie and Perloff. It's a holiday season, a lot going on. I don't know, Maggie, if you're as busy as I am. It feels like every day the to-do list is huge. A lot of sports last night, which interfere with it. Luckily, I could go back to my online shopping during the end of the Falcons-Raiders 15-9 bonanza.
Yeah, how could you tear yourself away from that barn burner? So this whole season, I've been doing no online shopping.
Oh,
I've been trying to really do the support small businesses thing, and it's been a good endeavor, but it has made life a little bit harder. But I have a question for you guys about the holidays, because my in-laws, I married into a family that already had this, I guess tradition is the way to think of it, but it's something that I have a hard time wrapping my brain around. They send each other like a Christmas list with stuff they want with links to it.
Right. That sounds very common sense.
Right. But then when we all get together and you open up the gift, it's like, hey, great, thanks for the sweater I literally sent you the link for. It's kind of foolproof in some ways. I think it's brilliant, but there's no surprises generally in our holiday. We sit around Christmas morning, we open up the gifts, we all know what we're getting.
Yeah, we're exactly like that too. My in-laws and my parents need to know exactly what I want. Because it's just, you can't waste money in these day and ages on things that aren't necessary.
I get it, but my family's the total opposite. We're always trying to surprise each other. I saw this, I thought of you. If anyone in my family said, what can I get you for the holidays? I'd say nothing. Don't give me anything. I couldn't bring myself to say, I want this very specific thing. It's just we're complete diametrically opposite in how our families do gift giving.
I'm totally with your husband. So you're just like, your mom doesn't ask, she doesn't ask you what you want? Does she ask what your son wants?
No, she asks, and I say, don't get me anything. Just like when I say to her, what can I get for you? Don't get me anything. Say, all right, then I'll surprise you with something that I think you would like.
You know the phrase, Pearl, it's the thought that counts? Like, that's gone now because you're just saying, all right, here's a list, give me your stuff. Yeah. There's no thought involved.
Yeah,
I
the
agree
slippers.
with Maggie.
Just, I want the slippers. So here's the link to the slippers. These are the ones I want.
I mean, my friends do a Secret Santa where we all like link into like a website, and I purposely like just don't put a list in until very late towards the end because I want them to see if they can get something good.
I think this is a result of inflation. Like, there's just no extra money to waste on crap. Like, you can't do, like, I specifically sent my parents an Amazon link of this new knife set because our knives were from, 2012.
Oh, dull knives are the worst.
Yeah, so, almost every time I tried to cut an apple, I almost cut my finger off because these things were so out of shape. But, no, there's just no messing around. Like, I need specific things. And my gifts, you would hate the gifts I get. I mean, my in-laws are getting me a gift card to Runner's Warehouse so I can get new Hokas because of my ankle problems. Yeah.
That's great for you. But
that's the thing, so it's very, very specific.
Listen, I get it. You're right. The inflation, everything is just, dollar's not going as far as it used to. Totally understand that. However, it's also so easy to return things in this day and age. So I don't feel bad. You get a gift receipt with it. You don't like it. That's on you. You can return my gift. I'm not territorial about the gift. I don't think just because I give it to you, you have to wear it, use it, blah, blah, blah.
I find returning a pain in the butt. I had this top from Dick's Sporting Goods. It took me 6 months to return.
Dick's is the easiest. Just go to Dick's.
There's a new thing that most normal people, unlike you, are doing where they buy everything on Amazon on Black Friday. Now you can go to a Whole Foods and actually hand them the stuff you don't want from Amazon.
Yeah.
My wife went last night. The line was an hour and a half long.
Well, you live in New York City.
I think all Whole Foods are having this problem because Black Friday, they set all these records. Because your trend of going to small businesses isn't exactly catching fire.
Everybody I was hoping to maybe start
everybody else
something.
is online shopping. So I think it's hard to return things now. And it's very challenging, especially this year. I've heard it's really hard to return things.
Really? Okay. I don't know. I figure I throw a gift receipt. I literally was just at that same sporting goods store, and I was buying stuff for my nieces and nephews. And I'm like, all right, here's the gift receipt. And they live in Philadelphia. So if the batting gloves don't fit, sorry, kids, if they don't fit, then you can just return them. If the gymnastics leotard doesn't fit, you can just return it.
Wait, but you had to, did you ask them what they wanted? You got a kid batting glove? Okay. So
they're
you did
huge
that.
baseball fans.
So you actually asked him exactly what he wanted?
No, I just said, what are they into right now? They're super into baseball. I got them Philly Fanatics hats. I got them, and I'm super into gymnastics. I got you a leotard with a matching hair thing, stuff like that. I'm their aunt, I'm not buying them school clothes.
Do you hate it when you buy team gear for a team you hate and then the emails start coming from the Phillies?
Oh, I get Mets. I get Mets emails because I bought tickets to a concert, and now I get Mets tickets emails every day.
It's rough. I'm a big Knicks fan, and then my brother's a huge Celtics fan. Every year I buy him Celtics gear, and then I got 6 months of congratulations to the 2024 NBA champion Boston Celtics. Here's a T-shirt.
Yeah, I did that once. I bought someone else's kid a cheese head. And now I don't hate the Packers, but I get a lot of Packers emails now.
I think you made a mistake, Maggie. You bought, let's take batting gloves, for example.
Yeah.
Like, if you buy your nephew batting gloves, then he's stuck with your batting gloves. And maybe you can return them and get the right ones. But generally, I think the more direction you get, it's because he wants, a certain set of batting gloves. It's very particular. You can't just, think that you're, I'll get you this. Then he's got, something that is slightly off. He's like, should I return it? It's just a pain. I think the more specific you can be as a gift requester, the better.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I was trying to do something that'd be fun as a surprise. Now the kids, we surprise, but it's the adults. This is my in-laws. This is their whole family. My husband is into it. His brother, everyone. It's not just my father-in-law, mother-in-law. It's specific links to stuff. Can we put that out as a poll? Do you know what you're getting for Christmas?
See, I think you ran into a different dilemma, Maggie, that you're not even thinking about.
What's that?
Is baseball. Some of the most superstitious athletes we have.
Oh, they're 6 years old.
Kids are. Well, it may trickle down to the parents. If the young fella goes up there and he starts, going 1 for 6 and he goes on a nice little 2 for 30 spell, who's getting the blame?
Me?
Yes, you are getting the blame. It's gonna be since he got these batting gloves, he can't hit off a tee.
Well, it is December. I'm not sure he's going to even remember where those batting gloves came from in April. But I think the poll question should be different. It should be, would you rather be surprised with a gift, or would you rather, how's the wording, give a link to what you want?
No, can I just tell EJ something now? Yeah. You and I are of the mind that you'd rather be surprised,
Definitely.
Right? And surprise other people. Hey, I thought of you. I saw this for you. I'll get it for you. I'm just going to let you know, you don't want that same energy for your wedding. Do the registry.
Oh, well.
Do the registry.
No, I know that for a fact. Yeah, for sure. And I already know with Andrea, she's the opposite. She wants spoilers in movies. She wants to know everything that's happening.
Yeah.
It's so tough because we're so different. I love surprises. I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
And I also enjoy surprising her, and she can't stand it.
Your wedding will have plenty of surprises when you're not even trying for there to be surprises. So have people stick with the registry or just give you cash. So that's it. What's your family like? Do you guys send each other links to gifts to make sure everyone gets it exactly right? Or do you surprise each other with stuff? Bogusch is here with headlines. Busy night last night.
And all the headlines are sponsored, guys, by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Not a huge night for the Vikings offense, but Justin Jefferson did his damage on Monday Night Football.
Dropping back, Darnold cocks his right arm, throws back in the end zone, caught, touchdown. A two-handed helmet high grab by Justin Jefferson. And a touchdown pass is 7 yards by Sam Darnold.
Kevin Harlan on Westwood 1. Jefferson 7 catches, 73 yards, and that score in a 30-12 home win over the Bears last night. And he put those numbers up with Randy Moss on his mind.
I was happy to see that he came out and said he had beat cancer and everything, but I always will, have him in my prayers and the effect that he has on people, just not just me, but just the whole world is outstanding.
Moss's name and jersey were all over last night's game. This is the first time the Vikings played since he announced that he has successfully fought off cancer for the time being. Jefferson and the Vikings now on a 7-game win streak, matching the Lions at 12-2, but Detroit has a head-to-head win at the moment. They play again in Week 18. The Raiders' season, meanwhile, is almost mercifully over. Their losing skid hitting 10 with last night's 15-9 stinker against the Falcons. Head coach Antonio Pierce.
Well, all teams. We need all three phases to play well. Obviously, when you're struggling, losing 9 in a row, you can't have those mistakes, and we did today, and it was a bad day in office. Bottom line.
Yeah, his offense didn't find the end zone until the final minutes. It gave the ball away 3 times, gave up a safety. The defense allowed Bijan Robinson to run for $125, and the special teams had a punt and a PAT blocked, allowing the Falcons to win and keep them a game behind the Bucs atop the NFC South. Atlanta holds the tiebreaker through a season sweep. NFL discipline yesterday. The Niners formally suspending linebacker Devondre Campbell for their last 3 games for refusing to enter last Thursday's game with the Rams. The team may now try to recoup some of Campbell's $3.3 million signing bonus. And the Ravens agreeing to let wideout Deontay Johnson stay home this week after suspending him for their last game because he refused to play in a game as well. There were 7 lead changes in the last 75 seconds last night in Sacramento. The Nuggets got the most important one.
Murray goes to the left hand, picks up his dribble, back over to Jokic, back over to Murray for the game winner. Got it! 8.6 seconds to go. Denver leads by 1. Timeout, Sacramento.
That's Jason Kosmiski on Nuggets Radio. Denver a 130-129 win over the Kings after trailing by 10 with 4 minutes left. Jamal Murray scored 28. Nikola Jokic had 20 with 14 rebounds and 13 assists. The Cavs rolled through Brooklyn 130-101. And the Bulls topped the Raptors 122-121. Hockey last night, Vancouver downed Colorado 3-1. Same final, the Stars over the Capitals. That's how Washington's 10-game road winning streak comes to an end. Guys, back to you.
No details on the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce birthday party situation?
I
didn't make the rundown?
Don't know what you're talking about.
You weren't invited, huh?
Of course not.
Would have been weird if it was just Taylor, Travis, and then Bogusch.
I think that would be amazing. I'm a good third wheel.
I gotta be honest. I saw the headline. I didn't click on it. What's the dealio?
Listen, guys, do your own research. No, I'm just kidding. The deal was that Travis actually left early on a mandatory Christmas party with the Chiefs, but he went to the party, but then left early so that he could go to wherever Taylor is, LA, New York, Nashville, I don't know. And they did like a one-on-one thing. Just him showering her with gifts, according to Page 6. Lots of roses, lots of stuff that he meticulously planned out, but it wasn't this big bash. It was just the two of them.
This happened when?
Earlier this week. December, or maybe Friday, December 13th, I think is her birthday, or the 12th.
So he left like on a game, like...
No, mandatory Christmas party.
Right,
Yeah.
but still like leading up to a game. So he left in the middle of game prep.
Yeah, like last week.
And flew somewhere and then flew back?
I mean, they were playing the Browns.
Wait, this is last week we're talking about. Oh.
It was last week. Well,
Why?
Today's only Tuesday, so yes, it was last week.
Why was the party mandatory? Are you allowed to do that? Like, say you have to come to the Christmas party?
I think so.
I mean, they're paying him enough.
Well, I mean,
show up and shake some hands.
But it's definitely not like really mandatory because there is a union. Like, there's like he doesn't have to go to that party, but.
I don't know. I don't know why you'd fight that one. You know, that's like an easy W. Just show up at the holiday party and look like a good person.
I get Perloff's point, and I also think, too, reading the coverage of some of these, the gossip stories, they have no idea how the NFL works, football works. Like, asking questions like, will he miss games or like travel? Like, so they're all over the place. So the mandatory might not be a real.
No, I mean, it's not
word in that
really
story.
mandatory. Like, obviously. Listen, Travis Kelce's problems are very serious on the football field. Like, he stinks this year. He might be the worst. Like, there's not a tight end in the league who gets more targets and less catches than Travis Kelce right now. Like nothing is working for them.
I'm picturing Bogusch right now just being the third wheel at that wherever they were, and Travis just kind of leaning over to Taylor and just whispering.
Who the f*** is that guy?
Wow. That was a big setup, Grandpa.
I'd love to know what that was originally for. But yes, thinking about Bogusch being the third wheel, they're probably not listening to Dave Matthews. They might be.
Listen, I'm not a one-trick pony, guys. I have other things about me. Jeez.
Yeah, Fordham basketball, Fordham football,
Fordham water polo.
Yeah, what are you chit-chatting? What are you chit-chatting with them about?
Mets baseball.
There's 5. I am up to date more than any of you guys on the new cool music. You want to talk about Gracie Abrams, Sabrina Carpenter?
So all her
I'm your
opening
guy.
acts, I'm sure she'll love talking about that.
And there's all these love triangles and stuff like that. Like we could have
The
some
love
good
triangles
gossip.
I'm a little bit up on.
So you want to just gossip together?
Yeah.
This Mendez, Caballo, Carpenter thing.
Right.
Then there's a Carpenter and
Gracie Abrams and some other dude.
And a Carpenter and that actor, the Barry Cogan.
Yeah.
Like there's Sabrina Carpenter is in every love triangle that's happening right now.
She's got to keep her pants on. That's the bottom line there.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right, Dad.
Someone's got to say it.
According to the source, it told Page 6,
Listen to
Travis
me, young
thought
lady.
the intimate setting would be preferable rather than be surrounded by a lot of people, where Taylor would be mingling with everybody and they wouldn't have much of a chance to have one-on-one time. Taylor and Travis are always surrounded by a ton of people, so it was really important for this celebration to be different for Taylor. This was a night they'll always remember, and it went off without a hitch. I'm going to be honest, I wonder if he may have secretly proposed here. Everything they do is for public consumption, so this will probably be some gigantic, over-the-top, silly proposal, but maybe he did.
Is a birthday a good date to propose?
We also have had this conversation before. There are laws about giving engagement rings on like birthdays and holidays that adjust if you can get the ring back.
Gotcha.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if you give, I'm probably going to get it wrong, but like if I give you a ring like for Christmas or your birthday and we break up, like I can legally get it back, but if I just give it to you like on a Tuesday, it's for you and like you can't. Like some places there are actual rules.
I
about
remember we
this.
talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds like the mandatory Christmas party made up.
No, this one is actually a thing.
I like Maggie's here. I think you're right, Maggie. I think you're onto something.
They keep saying this stuff. Page 6 reported that Travis wanted to make this milestone birthday an extra special one. I think she turned 35.
It sounds like
Is that a milestone?
It sounds like a date more than a party, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, like
they just went like, why is it headline news that they went on a date? I guess because. But don't they go on dates all the time, aren't they? Like,
by the way, you say that everything they do is for public consumption except this. We know nothing about it.
But I know basically everything because I have these details. Travis had jewelry engraved especially for Taylor, gave her countless roses, showered her in gifts. He hired a private chef and bartender to cook and make cocktails for them. He had his gifts delivered beforehand so they would be a surprise.
Step it up, EJ.
No, it's just
me.
It's just also like, unfortunately for Taylor, her birthday is right near Christmas. Is this a birthday Christmas combo?
It's always tough.
Yeah, I mean,
People have December birthdays. I feel for you.
I mean, Taylor's had other breaks in her life, but that's tough. She's gonna get less presents.
No, things are going well for her, is what you're trying to say.
I'm getting a bad vibe from some of this stuff. I'm getting a little bit of a J-Lo, A-Rod, Ben Affleck,
guys, what is your problem?
Just because they don't because if it's that much of a challenge to spend time together, then they have no idea how they'll be for the rest of their life. Like, I think these super busy international superstars, like, I just don't know.
Like it's like a long distance relationship.
I just don't know if there's enough time to really understand how they get along. If, like, they have to go through all this work to have a date.
Well, he's in season, to be fair, but
she just got done with a 2-year world tour.
You remember? Yeah, like even in the offseason, he had to fly to New Zealand to see his girlfriend. This is not easy.
But here's the thing: they could keep this up because it's not like they're going to stop being busy, even when he retires.
What do you give a woman who's essentially a billionaire, though? Like, the idea he had to shower her with gifts also feels. I mean, maybe he just wanted to, and that's great. Just
you got to personalize everything.
I think she got links.
She got links to Amazon slippers.
Well, she sent him a bunch of Amazon links.
Yeah, exactly. Took all the guessing out of it.
She also got a box set of knives, like I did. Thank you, Tom and Carol.
Exactly the one she wanted. Because, Perloff's house, and with my in-laws, everyone just sends links, so there's no surprises.
Yeah, Taylor sent a bunch of links to Kelsey.
Yeah.
Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
Taylor's list.
I would like an electric toothbrush. Nothing says love.
So is she going to be at the Christmas Day game? She will be, right? But she was last year, I think.
She was at the
Thanksgiving.
It was Christmas Eve. They played against the Raiders. I don't remember if she was at that game.
So
Yeah, she's there for all of it now. This is it. They're the thing.
But no, she doesn't have like tours.
No, tours
just
over.
ended.
Okay, so they play the Steelers on Wednesday, December 25th at 1 p.m. She'll definitely be at that game. Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, she's from Pennsylvania. Isn't she from
She's from Reading, right? Yeah. She's from where Ross Tucker's from. Same high school, I believe.
Crazy. 855-212-4227.
Crazy.
What a coinky dink.
That's right.
She also grew up at a Christmas tree farm. I know that about her. So this is her time of year. It sounds like a Hallmark movie. Someone's got to save the Christmas tree
I did not
farm.
know that. That's a good little tidbit. I'm going to share that this holiday
And she
season.
falls in love with the star football player.
Exactly. It's like a song. Thank you all.
Taylor's list.
Or a Netflix movie starring Lindsay Lohan.
Yes.
Pop star grew up on a Christmas tree farm, falls in love with a quarterback.
I mean, it's a
Lifetime's already done it, by the way.
a little cliched at this point. Coming up, who's to blame for the Niners' collapse? I'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Oh, and Bogusch sits at his desk, dreaming of ways to lay Perloff to rest. He's smiling wide, but behind those eyes, there's a plot for revenge he just can't disguise. Perloff, oh Perloff, you drive me insane with your milky white ankle and your constant complaints. One more bad take, and I swear it's the end. You'll regret ever calling me just a friend. Perloff, oh Perloff, you drive me insane with your milky white ankle and your constant complaints. One more bad take, and I swear it's the end. You'll regret ever calling me just a friend. He sharpened a pencil inside with regret. Violence is messy, I'm not there yet. But then Perloff laughed at his little league crew, and Bogusch thought, oh, I know what to do. Perloff, oh Perloff, the time might be near. I'll strangle you softly with Taco Bell gear. You think you're so clever, but the truth is quite clear. I'm the MVP, and you're just my steer. He picked
AJ's at the bar with a cold cheap beer, says Trey. Oh, Peter Belotti's pissed as hell. Giselle's got sick or she didn't fucking tell. Had Brady's baby, Tom don't know. But where the hell's Peter? No show after no show. He's bitching about Giselle, her secret kid, but his own damn job he's nowhere he hid. Bogusch keeps wondering, where's Pete today? Left us hanging again, like every damn day. Dropping F-bombs, talking Tom's mess, while his empty chair just adds to the stress. Bogusch is stuck, covering his slack, looking around like, will Pete come back? Swear like hell by Tom's mystery son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's done. Forget Giselle and Brady's life. Peter's job's the real mystery, his endless strife. Yeah. Bogusch is wondering, where the fuck is he? Every time he checks, Pete's MIA, can't see. And we're pulling his weight, shift after shift, while Pete's home maybe or just drifting adrift. It's about Brady, like it's his goddamn right, but coming to work, man, he's out of sight. Giselle and her drama, who gives a shit? Bogusch and us, we're the ones getting hit. but show up or stop wasting our goddamn time. Bogusch is tired, we're all fed up. Peter Belichick, just shut the fuck up. About Tom's Mr. Son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. Bogusch is still in Brady's life. Peter's job's a real mystery. His endless streak, his endless strife. Swear like hell about Tom's mystery son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's done. Forget yourself and Brady.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, M&P, Maggie and Perloff. Okay, so we got the news about Devondre Campbell. This thing got really bad between the 49ers and Campbell. They suspended him without pay. Now they're talking about trying to claw back some of like signing bonus money, and he refused to go in the game. And I think in a season where everyone's just had enough in this 49er season, it's been one thing after another.
Yeah.
There's been things that have been serious. There's been things that have been silly. They've just been, every which way a season can kind of go off the rails. It feels like they've had a little bit of everything. So for a guy to refuse to come into a game just felt like the final straw. I think they're taking out a lot of the frustrations on Devondre Campbell, and he set himself up for this. The question is, why did it go so wrong for the 49ers? Is there an easy answer here?
Yes. I mean, look at their depth chart. It's got nothing but red ink. Everybody's hurt. Like, what possible other explanation is there? Well,
I think that it started in the offseason long before anybody got hurt. Like, you could even go back, hey, it started at the end of last season, how they lost the Super Bowl and the question marks around what their strategy was in overtime and just how close they were and then falling short. And that sort of sets the path. And then from there, one bad contract negotiation after another that gets drawn out, that's the public knows way too much or just lasted way too long. And that's long before, Perloff, we ever got an injury.
Yeah, but I don't think, maybe, but you saw at the beginning of the last game against the Rams when Dre Greenlaw was on the field.
Look better.
And you saw the whole defense for about a quarter. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the Niners. Like, they're back. Then Dre Greenlaw got basically hurt again. I don't know, or just wore down.
Yeah.
He just, so I just think that, I think you'd have none of these problems if Christian McCaffrey and Dre Greenlaw and the left tackle, Trent Williams, if everybody was out there and Nick Bosa hadn't been in and out of the lineup, I think those injuries, which do have a lot to do with the long playoff run and do have a lot to do with the holdouts. I agree with that. But if they were all healthy, we wouldn't be having any other drama.
So here's the thing about that. Yes, I think injuries definitely played a big part. Obviously, you'd be naive not to think that. But I'm looking at teams like the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about an injured team, and yet there are still people who will pick them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but their odds plummeted.
Well, plummeted to third.
Yeah,
plummeted to third. Actually, I thought they might even still be second in some books. Here's the thing about using injuries as the excuse. It's not like the cupboard was so entirely bare. You still had your quarterback. You still have a running game. You still had receivers. You still have guys who can play on the defense. I understand it could just be as easy as chalking it up to injuries, but I see other teams who navigate this. And the 49ers cannot.
I disagree. No team in NFL history has ever lost a 1,300-yard receiver, the best left tackle in the game, the best pass rusher in the game,
But these
the best
guys
running
weren't
back
gone
in the
for
game.
the season, though.
But I mean, listen, all you need is a little Nick Bosa injury, and like you can get derailed pretty quick because they're so crazy dependent on him. I don't think there's a team in a million years who could survive all these injuries.
855-212-4227. What do you blame for the 49ers issues? Let's go to Ramon in Indianapolis. Hey, Ramon.
Hey, how you doing, Maggie and Perloff? And thank you for taking my call. I have a love relationship with the 49ers, of course, being OG, go back to the Montana era. But people got to remember, they haven't won a Super Bowl since 1994. You know, it's been a long time. And they're in the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Dallas get beat up a lot, but the 49ers haven't won since 1994 themselves. And Shanahan is this glory boy, and everybody loves him, and this, that, and the third. But you know, I'm an old military veteran, and the head is what our sergeants and commanders and stuff like that. You know, they had to be responsible for us, and so we represented them, they represented us. So it's a hand-in-hand relationship. I hate that happened because as an ex-college athlete and a coach, you never want to quit. I've had children try to quit on me, especially this new generation. You don't even want to get me started on this 1995 to now present generation. I don't even want to get started on that. But what about Shanahan? When are we going to start holding Shanahan's feet to the fire?
He's had one bad season. Ramon, he's had one bad season. I mean, he's had two.
He's had two.
But both the injuries. Like, why holding feet for fire for what?
He hasn't won. Andy Reid got fired after going to 5 NFC championship games and losing the Super Bowl in Philadelphia, and then went to Kansas City and did better. Maybe it's time for a change there.
Well, it took 17 years for the Eagles to fire Andy Reid, and Shanahan's been there for 7 years and made 2 Super Bowls.
Oh, it's a new age. He can't control his players. It's on him. We got to stop giving these coaches a pass. My brother does that all the time, and it drives me crazy. They get paid millions of bucks. We got to hold them accountable. Thanks,
Ramon, thank you for the call. Thank you for your service, of course. And, I think Shanahan does get a lot of the blame because, Perloff, you'll look and say he's had 2 bad seasons, right? And you could chalk those up to injuries. But I think you're discounting the close losses in the Super Bowl almost feel like you have to almost, I'm going to use this term a little loose, you like mourn a season like that where you get so close and then you lose. It almost feels like losing double.
Well, I mean, I'll ask you, people in Buffalo with Marv Levy, I know at the time, I don't remember him being denigrated for the Super Bowl losses. I mean, let's face it, they lost to better teams most of the time. The Niners lost to Patrick Mahomes twice. I think Shanahan, right now in the moment, it feels tough, but I think Marv Levy's revered in Buffalo. Maybe people look back on the Shanahan era a little more positively than they seem to be doing right now.
Maybe. I mean, I think people believe that the Bills lost in a fluky way to the Giants. But to be honest, the Giants had the better game plan. Now we're talking about Super Bowls from the 90s, but the Giants had the better game plan with Otis Anderson running the ball control, wouldn't let Jim Kelly get on the field. They lost to the Washington team. I thought that was unforgivable. And then the Dallas Cowboys definitely were the better team.
They lost to Joe Gibbs. I mean, come on. Joe Gibbs was the GOAT back then. He beat my Eagles soundly all the time. Anyway, regardless, though, I think like Shanahan right now feels really, and it's also partly his attitude. He just looks very sour right now.
Well, he's not supposed to look happy. The team's like fading fast. Yeah, better adjective there. Rich is in California. Rich, who do you blame for the 49ers season going off the rails?
I think you can look at 2 things. I think the 49ers grossly underestimated how quickly the league would catch up. And number 2, I think the 49ers suffered greatly from having all their coaches picked off from them. In essence, they became victims of their own success.
Yeah, it's always tough, Rich, for these teams. And, thank you for the phone call. And, the assistants get poached.
I mean, specifically, they're obviously having trouble solidifying that defensive coaching staff. Like, it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, with DeMeco Ryans, Robert Saleh both getting head coaching jobs. I mean, listen, Saleh could be back next year. Yeah,
I mean, I think EJ might have said, was it the smart move to fire Steve Wilkes, who got them the Super Bowl last year? Because they certainly look, until this last part of the season, they look worse on defense. I'm not sure what the answer is. But that being said, they came back hard after the last injury year. Like, they were really good. They were 10-7. They made the NFC title game. Should have beaten the Rams. Jaquiski Tartt dropped an interception. Otherwise, they're in the Super Bowl. I would not count them out. I think Shanahan is a good coach. I think he's going to get them there again and lose in dramatic fashion.
Oh, boy. The setup, Perloff, 855-212-4227. Who you blaming for the 49ers woes? Coming up, we've got an update for you. Some very important injury news you've got to hear. We've got that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Not exactly films worthy of Canton last night. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But if you're a Vikings fan, you're happy because it's like a survive and advance kind of thing. Now tied with the Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles for the number 1 seed in the NFC, Perloff, although the Lions would have the tiebreaker right now. And this is setting up for a wild finish here. And who's going to get not only that number 1 seed, get the bye, and Minnesota. Listen, I didn't think they were very impressive last night on the offensive side, but the Bears have so many problems that this looked like a walkover at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the Vikings played down to the Bears a little bit. They obviously were not very scared that the Bears offense was not going to score enough points to win that game. There's just no way, because they had a new left tackle in who had all these crazy penalties, or he got blown away by Jonathan Grenard. I think the Vikings are obviously they're not built like the other elite teams in the NFC. There's no doubt about it. I understand that. But I just think if they get a home game in the playoffs, they could win a playoff game and maybe even be in the NFC title game like they were with my guy Case Keenum in 2017. They don't look like a Super Bowl team. You're right about that, but I think you're dismissing them as a challenge in the playoffs, especially if they're at home. That is key for them.
Yeah, but I watched them blow a home game 2 years ago to the Giants. And granted, this is a better team defensively than that team, and offensively, I guess it's a better team overall. But to me, if you're giving me the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings, and who's going to make noise in these playoffs, even with all the injuries to the Lions and even with some of the up and down play of the Packers, I'm still taking the Packers. I know that feels like you get labeled a Minnesota hater, a Sam Darnold hater. I didn't think Sam was that great last night.
Well, I think it all depends on the matchups, like who's going to see who here. It's really big. You want to probably avoid the Eagles if you have to go to Philadelphia. Like, that's nowhere you want to go. Yeah. Like, the Vikings, I'm sorry, an indoor team, like going to the Link in December or January, that would be bad. I just think it's going to be really close. I see the last 2 rounds of the NFC playoffs being a lot of close games, kind of like last year's, where the Packers were right there with the Niners, the Lions were right there with the Niners. So your team right now is the Packers, both of our Super Bowl picks, by the way.
Both of our Super Bowl picks.
But how do you weigh them against the Eagles? I didn't hear you said that you think they're the team in the NFC North. I agree.
Yeah.
But the
NFC.
Eagles, if Green Bay has to go to Philly, I think they'll be underdogs.
Listen, I know it was feels like a million years ago, but I watched Philadelphia and Green Bay play in Brazil, and until Jordan Love got hurt, that was definitely a game. So I think that the Packers would be fine. They're an outdoor team going to the Link.
Love got hurt, I think, on the last play.
At the very end.
Yeah, but the Eagles are a much better team than they were early in the year. They figured out a lot of things. Like, they basically stopped throwing the ball.
Passing game, but they literally just figured that out, apparently.
No. They just, they went from 38 pass attempts a game to 29 pass attempts a game and just changed everything. Like, they're a much more physical, better team right now than they were back then. I think the Packers are, too, by the way.
I think the Packers have the defense to try to maybe contain Saquon Barkley. And I think on the offensive side, they would put up a much bigger fight than, say, the Pittsburgh Steelers did. I mean, the Packers offense has way more big play capability that by a power of 10. And I also think the coaching matchup favors Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I mean, that'd be interesting to see. like right now, the Eagles' defense seems very well coached.
They are dialed in right now.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I don't know about Kellen Moore. I'm not sure like how he would respond in this kind of spot, but I got to tell you, I feel like that Eagles defense would give Jordan Love some trouble.
855-212-4227 if you want to weigh in on the positive side of this, of the winning teams in the NFC. But we also had some pretty lousy play last night as well. And, Perloff, I think you and I are both kind of disappointed about how the rookie season for Caleb Williams is going. But where you and I disagree is I think Williams still shows that he has talent and could ultimately prove that he has talent. You're opening up the door that this just might be a bust of a pick and maybe a bust of a player.
I think Caleb Williams is going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be in Chicago. You saw plays last night where he relaxed and he showed that arm from USC. For example, there was a play where the Vikings jumped offside, so he knew he had a free play. He was relaxed and he slung it sort of sidearm 20 yards downfield. And at the end of the game, when the game didn't matter, he looked relaxed. But he is in his own head right now, and he is missing wide open passes. I know he's under pressure all night, but 3 or 4 opportunities to move the ball, and he just whiffed. And I don't know what's happening. I asked EJ this morning. I walked in and was like, did Caleb Williams do that at USC, and I just didn't notice it? Is he a wildly inaccurate passer? Because some of the misses aren't even close.
855-212-4227. See, my biggest issue is not actually with Caleb. My question is, this is like a Herculean effort, it feels like, to get the Bears to be a winner, especially in this division. And I'm looking at the coaching candidates that are out there, and I thought Bill Belichick actually would have been a very good spot, would have been a good fit, rather, in Chicago for a couple reasons. Troy Aikman talked about it last night on the broadcast, and he didn't even mean to talk about it in terms of Belichick, but it reminded me of Belichick, which is the way that you actually learn how to play quarterback in the NFL is not by learning more offense, it's by learning to read defenses. And I think that Bill Belichick could help him with that. Sam Darnold credits Kyle Shanahan with helping him learn defenses. That's what Sam Darnold never got at the Jets. An education, because in college it's just not the same. And in the NFL, the defenses are a lot more sophisticated. And you saw Brian Flores was really confusing the hell out of Caleb Williams last night. And so, to me, a teacher is more what he needs as opposed to just a great play caller. And I'm looking at the guys who might be in the mix here for a head coaching opportunity in Chicago. Cliff Kingsbury, Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, maybe Joe Brady from the Bills. These guys who have very little experience, I guess, outside of Cliff, but very little experience, but are known to be good play callers. That feels like a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. This dude needs to learn to read a defense.
Well, why is Jaden Daniels? Who taught him how to read a defense? I mean, he had the highest PFF grade of any quarter.
Dan Quinn's the defense coordinator.
Yeah, come on. First of all, Jada's just older and ready to go. I just think that maybe it's just different. Like Cliff's does a nice job. I'm not sure. I understand what you're saying. Like Bill Belichick didn't teach Mac Jones anything. He taught him how to not throw the ball at best. So I think Bill Belichick's offenses were terrible in New England at the end. Just after Brady left, it was bad, bad, bad. That could have been a Mac Jones problem, too. Like, there could have been a lot of blame, as Jeff Howe, who covered the Patriots, joined us last week when we were talking about Belichick going to North Carolina. There was a lot of blame to kind of float around. And Cam Newton was at the end of the rope. Bill Belichick's not an offensive guy. I mean, it's just the bottom line. Like, I can never see him having an explosive offense again. It's just not about how he wants to coach.
There's no correlation. I know Brady played in a pro-style offense when he was at Michigan or whatever, but there's no correlation between Tom Brady being one of the best ever to diagnose defenses and the fact that his head coach was Bill Belichick. You see no correlation to that whatsoever?
Mm-hmm. No.
Really?
I mean, obviously, that was all Brady. But
Bill
regardless
taught him nothing. Bill's just getting a snack while everybody else is doing football.
I'll tell you, I like Joe Brady because Joe Brady brought the run game back to Buffalo and saved this franchise from sliding into oblivion. Let's be honest. Like, just to de-emphasize Diggs last year and start handing the ball off, that's changed everything. I mean, how many games in a row is he? What's the record since he's took over? They've lost like 3 games.
Yeah, and also Joe Brady was responsible for calling a quarterback sneak in a moment in the Rams game when that was the absolute wrong call. So
that's one call. Generally, though, he's transformed That's one play. He's transformed that Bills offense in a really positive way.
It's totally fine. I'm just telling you, you have no idea what these guys are like until they're in the big chair. And if I'm the Bears, I've done this with Nagy and with Eberflus, and I've taken these coordinators who have never been head coaches before, and I've watched them completely flounder.
Well, Eberflus was a defensive guy, so let's say Nagy was pretty okay. I mean, he made the playoffs with Mitchell Trubisky. He should get a Hall of Fame consideration for that.
Fair.
I think Nagy won Coach of the Year, right? So let me ask you this. Who do you want as coach? Belichick's gone. He's at UNC. Give me another name.
It's going to be hard because I don't think
the other name is Vrabel, who everybody's going to want.
Who everybody wants, and I think Vrabel would be great.
Oh, God, Vrabel. You're going to recreate Ryan Tannehill? Please.
They'd be lucky to get Vrabel.
If they hire Mike Vrabel, then I think that Sunday Ticket should take the Bears off TV because they're going to recreate the Titans.
Listen, Mike Vrabel had a number 1 seed in the AFC. Mike Vrabel went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. Here's the thing. I want somebody who I know can do this job. Matt Eberflus couldn't do the job. Matt Nagy couldn't do the job. What's up?
You want a retread?
I want someone with experience. You want to call it a retread? I'll say experience. Listen, I think if Mike McCarthy got fired, they should look at him. Say what you want about McCarthy. He's not Mr. X's and O's, but can he develop a young quarterback? Definitely. So I think the Bears need someone with experience.
So let me just get you on the record with this.
Yes, I'm on the record.
If the Bears are hiring a coach this offseason and Ben Johnson says, I will come there, and Mike McCarthy says, I will come there, you would take Mike McCarthy?
Yes. I don't know diddly squat about Ben Johnson as a head coach.
Yeah,
And by the way, he has one of the best offensive lines in football. He's got multitude of weapons. He's got a quarterback that the league had given up on who had a massive chip on his shoulder. Things went pretty right for Ben Johnson here. And Dan Campbell sets the culture. So things have gone very right here for Ben Johnson. The next, no matter where he goes, the next stop, if he becomes a head coach, it's not all going to look that perfect.
I hate to say, how do you know that those units are elite? Maybe it's because the play calls are so good. Jared Goff, how do we know Jared Goff isn't playing this great because of Ben Johnson? How do we know that's not such a great line? It wasn't that great a line before he got there. And Amon-Ra St. Brown's a 4th-round pick. It's not like I'm just saying, that could be the coaching too.
Well, you've said it yourself. You think Brad Holmes, their general manager, picks nothing but winners in the draft.
I will tell you, there is a thing where the Lions, it didn't really happen against the Bills. The Lions line up, and you don't know where they're going to hit you from. Somebody's calling amazing plays.
855-212-4227. Okay, so you can weigh in on the Bears. Is this salvageable? And who is the person to save it?
And by the way, that was not a pro Ben Johnson take when I guffawed at you. That was an anti-Mike McCarthy take. I feel very comfortable in saying that. You're going to give McCarthy his 3rd job with Caleb Williams. That's your future?
The way Perloff looked at me, he looked like Jim Halpert on The Office. You said you take McCarthy
over. Like a little
John
sideways.
Yeah.
No. That was definitely and you know what I'm talking about, Maggie. There's not a lot of Mike McCarthy stands out there right now.
Well, listen, sometimes you can't just go for the shiny object, okay? Sometimes you can't, you can't be blinded.
Can you get a little shinier than Mike McCarthy coming off a failed stint in Dallas?
Listen, when they go to Cliff Kingsbury, just don't say I didn't warn you when they go to Cliff Kingsbury because of people like Perloff who want some kind of, it's got to be offense. Meanwhile, everything's broken there. I mean, there's a couple pieces on the defense, but...
Well, at the very least, Cliff will call some play actions to get some easy throws for Caleb Williams. That's one thing Cliff can do. At least the ceiling, he's not going to win a Super Bowl, but he's going to get Caleb to 25 touchdowns.
Here's another question. Do you think Caleb is headed down the path of Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence was the last person we talked about being generational, can't miss, tank for him. And look at Trevor now. It's been just wildly inconsistent. His first year was basically just a total bust because Urban Meyer couldn't have been worse. And then they had a good second season, all-time great comeback in a playoff game, took Kansas City down to the wire in the second round of the playoffs, and then it's fallen apart again.
Yeah, I was thinking more the guy that you're worried about is Zach Wilson, not Trevor Lawrence. If you get Trevor Lawrence, you can work with that dude. Trevor Lawrence at least has a high passer rating and good numbers. I just don't. I'm not sure Caleb's going to be able to do that in Chicago.
855-212-4227. All right, so you're welcome to weigh in on the football side of this whole thing, especially in Chicago. Get more into the Raiders. Lost again last night. Now they have the inside track on the number 1 overall pick. Saw the sign Just tank, baby. Don't worry. You can't tell the difference.
They've got that covered.
The tanking or just straight up losing, whether it's on purpose or not.
Well, I mean, look at that quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough. Ritter, not.
I mean, you went into the season with a Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell combo. None of this is a surprise.
New definition of poo-poo platter.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a holiday question for you guys, and I'm told that Deborah in Colorado has the answer. My in-laws all send each other links for gifts. Like, there's no surprises. You just, I want this sweater, these gloves, this book, all the stuff. It's just, and my family is the opposite. We surprise each other. We don't tell each other what we want. Deborah has a thought for me. Good morning, Deborah.
Well, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for making it. What's on your mind?
Okay. All right. So this all started when my kids were teenagers, and same thing. Mom, I want this and I want that. And Maggie, you are so right. Thanks. Oh, yeah, surprise. Thanks so much. And I went, this is not what Christmas is. We got to surprise them. So my husband and I decided to do a gag gift. Okay? They're now in their 40s. This is now the treasured gift of Christmas. They can't wait to see what we got. So this year, the grandkids are getting to the age where we're going to start doing gag gifts. Now, let me give you some suggestions. These got to be gifts that are off the wall, all right? So an example this year, my 13-year-old granddaughter, I was out in an Asian market and found a jar of grass jelly. What the heck is grass jelly? So guess what? That's going to be her gag gift. I go to thrift stores. I go to, garage sales. I'll be out somewhere and go, what is that thing? And now it's become this gag gift. Tabletop toys that you buy at the dollar store. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't want it to be expensive because it's going to break in 2 minutes anyway. Sure. But this now is the treasured gift. So start surprising your in-laws this year with something goofy.
Oh, Deborah.
Pretty soon, it's going to be, let's draw names to see what gag gift we can buy Uncle Joe or whoever. And I'm telling you what, I just saw a video from 95 of my kids opening their gag gift, and there was a brand new bike under the tree. That got no attention as much as the bag of black fungus that I had found somewhere or something. So there you go. Start doing a gag gift, and you'll become Aunt Maggie is the best at Christmas.
All right, well, Deborah. Wow. I mean, that's pro advice. That's pro tips right there. I'm literally taking notes as you're talking. It's a great idea. Gag gifts. Pearl, whoopee cushions, weird stuff. Picture of I don't know, cat hanging from a tree, says hang in there. I don't know, something silly. What?
Perloff Halpert just appeared again. Another look at me like, what is Maggie talking about?
I don't know. I just
awesome.
picture like she has very nice kids who pretended, oh boy, here comes a gag gift. We have to like muster up the energy to pretend this is funny still.
Ow.
Ow.
So you wouldn't like a Michael Carter Williams jersey?
Sometimes
That
I
probably
don't even
costs a
want
lot
to
of
be
money.
associated with you. That is terrible. Deborah's kids love the gag gift.
Deborah's kids want the new bike. They didn't care about the bag of fungus. They're very nice kids. Deborah raised kids the right way. They're polite. They're like, oh God, the gag gift. Here we go.
She said I'm going to be the hit now of Christmas if I do what? The ice cubes with the pretend fly in the middle.
All right. Let's just say hypothetically, there's two aunts. One aunt brings a brand new like PS5 or something. The other brings a bag of fungus. Which one is the weird aunt and which one is the cool aunt?
When you put it that way.
Also, what kind of gag gift do you get a 6-year-old nephew?
Isn't everything a gag for a 6-year-old?
I think they would understand like a whoopee cushion now. They're old enough to get a fart joke.
I feel like you'd be good at this, Maggie, because your sense of humor is
pretty juvenile.
Yes.
I'll say it so you don't have to.
Very sophomoric.
Yeah, I know. I love the physical comedy, fart jokes, poop jokes. Yeah, I know. I think you got to give him a D. Yeah. Manny and I share a brain.
Wait, are you guys are down with Deborah's philosophy?
I think if you do a gag gif and a real gif, I could play along with this. I think if you're only doing, which I think is what Deborah was saying, if you're only doing the gag gift,
No, I think she's saying both. I think she was saying both.
Yeah, she's saying both. But I just also, that's amazing. I know she was just saying like a for instance, but when she said bag of fungus, my mind went to some weird places.
Yeah, where do you find that?
I was thinking it sounds like something Aaron Rodgers would eat in the Costa Rican rainforest to trip on ayahuasca. Is that fungus?
I just had this image of Kristen Wiig playing the sort of the, Kristen Wiig on Saturday Night Live played that character of the woman at the Target checkout line. She's like, ooh, a jar of grass jelly. Isn't this wild? That was in my head.
I think it's a good idea. I'm going to do it.
I think you should. I think you'd be good at it. I think you'd find some very weird, off beaten path things.
What small business is doing these kind of gag gifts
That's
though?
A good
because
question.
you're not giving Elon some money here.
I'm not Elon, not Bezos. I mean, obviously, I'm watching Thursday Night Football, so Bezos is getting the money, and I'm watching everything. But I'm trying to buy local. There's got to be a place.
Oh my God, I don't want to be related to you. Well, I honestly, I'm telling you right now, your nephews and nieces are disappointed in you, Maggie. Like, why won't this lady go on Amazon like everybody else?
I have regular gifts for them, but I think this is right. I can start to quietly mold their sense of humor, sort of bend it to my liking.
That's true, too.
Like, if I could get them into the fart jokes and stuff, then maybe then I've got little allies in the future.
Watching Caddyshack 2 together.
Exactly. They don't even know who Jackie Mason is yet. I've failed as an aunt.
Cut this out of the podcast.
855-212-4227. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate it, and I will get gag gifts this year along with the regular gifts for the kids. Okay, coming up, this is the only hope that the Raiders have of legitimacy. Excuse me. I'll tell you what it is next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
That, of course, is Kristen Wiig playing the Target lady because Maggie is now getting her shopping advice from Deb, who's awesome in Colorado, who says that you got to get a gag gift.
Along with a regular gift.
Yes,
because
like grass jelly.
Grass jelly, maybe some kind of whoopee cushion, because my in-laws, they send each other links to gifts. So there's no surprise whatsoever. So Deb called in to give me some good advice to start doing gag gifts along with the regular gifts.
Do you know any young kids or teenagers? They grew up with their devices in their hands. They're very specific. They're not like children of the 80s and 90s who like Caddyshack movies. Like that is not their jam at all. They are very, very much about video games and like they're very digital. So I would be careful about like trying to recreate like Christmas family vacation here.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm getting to kids now who are still pretty young, who can be molded. I've got the 7-year-old nephew, a 5-year-old son.
That 7-year-old is better on every digital device that you'll ever touch. He knows more. I tell you, they
so, like, hacked into the
in the womb now. They're better on most digital devices than my parents are. So yeah, you're like 7. You know how sophisticated he probably is.
He has fixed a couple things on the PC.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Like. Okay, I just find.
So what did you get him? A bottle of scotch and like some leather-bound books? What do you mean?
I mean,
Wall Street Journal subscription.
You have a 11-year-old son, right?
My daughter, who's 13, made a Google Slides presentation of her Christmas list.
My daughter's the same exact thing. Yeah.
No surprises there.
Yeah, let me guess. A lot of Sephora.
Not makeup, not Sephora specific, but makeup. Yeah.
Yeah, Sephora and Brandy Melville are like the mothership for 13-year-old girls. Brandy Melville, the clothing store. Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't get that energy that kids want to be surprised.
Well, when my family is cracking up after they get a bag of ants or whatever, I don't know what I'm going to get. Shards of glass.
Do you remember, though, when you were a kid and your aunt or your uncle would get you a present? Oh, God, and you had to pretend you liked it? That was a rough time.
You also can kind of split
talks like this, like he was a nom.
God,
you wouldn't have been there.
Yes, I just remember so many, like as a 9 or 10-year-old, just faking that you like this present from your relatives. It's the worst.
Well, one of the biggest lessons from my kids was how to handle getting something they already have.
Oh, what do you do?
Because they'd be like, I already have that. And push it aside. We gotta be a little nicer to Aunt Carrie. It's okay.
Swiping left?
Yeah.
Another Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, more sweatpants. Great.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we have to acknowledge that technology has completely ruined culture.
No, but there's nothing wrong with you don't have to get everything on the list, but there's nothing wrong with making suggestions. And then you can still throw on a surprise. It doesn't need to be a bag of poop. It could just be, I saw this shirt, I thought you'd like it.
One of those flaming bags again. Great line from Billy Madison. 855-212-4227. AJ's in California. AJ, help me.
Hey, Maggie. Hey, my family does this every year. We do the gag gift as well as a regular gift. But our favorite one that we've passed around for the last 15 or 18 years is a signed photograph of a Raider player, who was the number 1 draft pick a long time ago, Jamarcus Russell. And that's the gag gift that we never know who's going to get it each year because we do a secret Santa. And that one's been going around now for 15 or 18 years, and we're looking forward to see who gets it next week and hangs it in their garage.
Oh, AJ, I love that as a family tradition, a signed Jamarcus Russell photograph. What would be fun about that is trying to wrap it up in a box or something, a shape that doesn't give away that it's the photograph. I'm assuming it's in a frame.
Should make it in the shape of Jamarcus Russell.
I'd be a little bloated.
I think there's a chance that this photo is the voodoo doll. That is why the Raiders have been terrible for the last time.
Someone find that photo and burn it.
Yeah, we need to do what we did with the Carson Wentz poster.
Which was destroy it for charity. Mark is in Santa Cruz. Mark, do you guys also do gag gifts?
What's that?
Do you guys also do gag gifts?
No, we don't do. No, we don't do gag gifts. Sorry, but the reason why is because that's really kind of a rip-off of the White Elephant game.
Which, Mark, we are going to be, thank you for the call, we're going to be doing that White Elephant right here on the show live on Friday.
Yeah, do you guys have your gifts yet?
Nope.
I bought mine yesterday.
No. Do not.
Yeah, we might have to push it to Monday. Is everyone here Monday? I got nothing so far.
Monday, 2025?
I'll be
Monday,
ready.
25? It's a gag gift. It's a silly gift.
So I'm actually going to buy something good. People are going to want my gift.
What? You got Philly socks last year. Nobody wanted that.
Except for poor Bogusch got saddled with them and then kept him in the packaging.
$15 is challenging, though. I was thinking about it. I was going to actually go on Amazon because I'm not an idealist like yourself who's trying to shop local.
Trying to do one Amazon free Christmas, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
That is crazy.
It's not so much
Do you
about
have a
Amazon.
Landline? What is going on here?
I got a landline.
I was trying to do small businesses,
Well, they have websites too, though. You can.
They do.
Yeah.
No, you can buy yes, I've had to order things on the computer, but I'm trying to go a little to more mom and pops shops.
Yeah, right. Get out of here.
You can look at my credit card savings.
There's no mom and pop shops out in New Jersey. New Jersey's like nothing but strip malls.
You got to keep going a little bit further. Strip malls and drones, guys. Strip malls and drones.
And bad football
Is
teams.
Target a mom and pop shop? Like, what is happening there?
Yeah, I'll tell you the one mom and pop that has really taken most of my money. It's a little company called FedEx. Get to Bogusch with some headlines. Hey, Bogusch.
These headlines sponsored by PXG Golf. For high-quality, high-performance golf clubs, apparel that delivers style and comfort, premium golf balls, award-winning gloves, and more. Make it a PXG holiday for the golfer in your life. Find the PXG store near you at pxg.com. Well, I was a cute cart girl at a golf course in high school. The Falcons were kind of in must-win territory last night in Vegas. They had to beat the lowly Raiders to keep the Bucs within reach to top the NFC South. They did win, but it was too close for comfort.
Ritter to throw. Second down. Steps up. Uncorks it. Towards the end zone. It is deflected. Diving for it. A body, a scrum, and it's intercepted. It is picked off in the end zone, and Atlanta survives a major scare.
Kevin Kugler on Westwood 1. Atlanta finally winning a 15-9 thriller to snap a 4-game skid and remain a game behind Tampa Bay. That pick was the D's third takeaway. They also recorded a safety. The offense got another lackluster performance, though, from Kirk Cousins.
I think it's always just decision-making, so that you're not putting the ball in harm's way and not trying to be too aggressive. I think that's really the key, not protecting the football.
Yeah, that's why Cousins threw just 11 for 17, 112 yards, a TD, and a pick. That's his first passing score in 5 games. His old friends in Minnesota won again last night, 30-12 over the Bears. That's 7 in a row for the Vikings. But Sam Darnold says they could be much better.
Felt like we didn't play exactly the way that we wanted to on offense tonight. Can be a lot better in a lot of ways, but we got the job done, and that's all that matters.
Darnold throwing for just 231 and a score to Justin Jefferson. Their team now matches the Lions at 12-2, but Detroit has the tiebreaker for now through a head-to-head win. I told Taylor and Trav about this at the birthday party. Dave Clawson is the only D1 football coach ever to lead 4 programs to 10-win seasons. Wake Forest,
is that guy?
Bowling Green, Richmond, and Fordham. Clawson stepping down as Wake head coach after 11 seasons. Yesterday, he'll remain on for now as an advisor.
Wow, Fordham. No wonder I was like, where is this going? Fordham.
It got there.
Your school.
And then Manny cursed.
Yeah, what was that? You might want to edit that one a little tighter.
Is that guy?
Yeah, there's too many syllables audible in that one.
Who's taking over Wake Forest? Like Mike Shanahan? Now that the ACC is the place for all the most accomplished coaches.
Well, if they wait till June 1st, it would only take $1 million to get Belichick out of North Carolina.
Right,
they could go that route.
Right, so that's the Belichick's clause so we can get back to the NFL, right?
That's what it seems like, right?
It's a weird clause, though, because the buyout drops to $1 million, which is reasonable, extremely reasonable, before he would have even coached a game.
And it's $10 million right now, as if they're afraid in 3 weeks the Jets or somebody's going to come calling. And so, like, they are fearful of him leaving in the NFL cycle, but then as of June, they have no fears, so the buyout is nothing, and he can, because he's never going to leave. It doesn't make sense.
So it kind of feels like a 1-year thing, possibly. So to me, that's interesting. Like, who's their quarterback?
But it's
like,
not
they gotta
even
get
1
the best
year. It's 6 months.
Well, I know, but you said the coaches will be higher in the NFL by the time it goes down to $1 million.
Yeah, but then it's $1 million for the rest of the time there, which at any time that anyone could pay that.
You can't hire an NFL head coach in June, though.
But you could do it the year after.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Time.
That's why you have 1 year in North Carolina.
Yeah,
you really think he's one and done at North Carolina?
I mean, yes, I think there's a chance he jumps even before the season starts, but yeah, probably one and done.
But we were told that no one in the NFL wants him, so why does he need any buyout right now?
Because as Maggie keeps pointing out, like some of these coaching hires are going to look ridiculous after they fail next year, because that's what bad teams do. They make bad coaching decisions.
By the way, if that one of those Desmond Ridder Hail Marys connects last night, the Raheem Morris coaching hire would have looked ridiculous because they could have had Belichick at the Falcons and decided to pass. Now, lucky for them, neither of those Hail Marys did connect.
Again, I don't know. Like, does that spell Super Bowl winner? Bill Belichick down in Atlanta? That seems like a flawed roster. Maybe. I'm not sure what the perfect fit is, but I do. One and done sure seems plausible. Would that shock anybody?
It would not, but it would. He's got to coach a game there. Can't just say, all right, I'm going back. Although Belichick did say, and we have this, we're going to do this story, that he believes that if he waited out this coaching cycle, if he had not taken the North Carolina job, that he probably would have gotten an offer. I don't see it that way. I think he's got to coach again to get an offer.
I think
that's
he could.
The way it's trending. No,
I think he might have. I wouldn't rule it out. I think he goes 8-3 at North Carolina, good year, and then he seriously considers going back to the NFL, because I have been giving you a hard time, but you're right. There are a lot of teams who could do way worse than Bill Belichick.
Definitely. I mean, listen, Jim Harbaugh, up until he actually won the title at Michigan, was interviewing with NFL teams like every year. Yeah. Now, I always thought that was just to get more money out of Michigan, but he could flirt with the NFL a couple different times, Belichick. He's just a little older than Harbaugh.
Because of Belichick's age, I think he needs a win-now team. Like, he can't do a rebuild. So maybe the right opportunity will come up next year. Say there's a team that's right on the brink, like the Eagles, have all the talent in the world, but they can't do Sirianni anymore after a year.
Yeah,
that's like
Bills.
the perfect spot for Belichick. Yeah, your Bills.
What if my Bills lose again to the Chiefs or something?
To me, don't bring him to Chicago or Atlanta, like a team that needs a guy for 10 years. Bring him to come in and win immediately. I'm sorry we're discounting Tar Heel football, by the way.
NBA last night, James Harden scored 24 points in the first quarter. He had 34 by halftime, 41 total in the Clippers, 144-107 destruction of the Jazz. The Sixers got 40 from Tyrese Maxey, 33 from Paul George, in a 121-108 win in Charlotte, and Miami erased a 19-point second-half hole before losing an OT in Detroit, 125-124. Vermont won the men's soccer national title last night, 2-1 in OT over Marshall. It is the first team national title in school history.
Manny, where do they play?
Vermont.
Yeah. No, the Vermont-Marshall soccer rivalry, I mean, that's basically the Ohio State-Michigan. I was reading about this.
It's the other game.
UVM hasn't lost a game right this year. Like, they become a thing, UVM soccer. I can barely follow it. I don't understand college soccer that well. But that is getting a lot of headlines, and I'm not sure why. That's all I can add.
If you could have given me 100 guesses on what UVM athletics, what their signature sport would have been, I mean...
Well, remember
ultimate frisbee.
No, you would have got men's basketball.
Right, remember that guy Taylor Coppenrath or something? They made a run.
Tom Brennan, they run America East. You would have gotten there.
I know, because they play against the Binghamton Bearcats.
That's true.
Often.
They had one good NCAA tournament year. They had like a 6'8" shooter who was really good.
Well, they had that famous TJ Sorrentine shot over to beat Syracuse. That was like a 3-14 game.
That
was a long time ago.
The one that surprised me, Marshall's good at soccer?
I know that Marshall's good at soccer. I didn't know that Vermont was good at soccer.
Where's North Carolina and all these like?
Where's UCLA?
Yeah. Where's exactly?
When I think of the University of Vermont, does anyone else? Don't you just think of fish and
Ben and Jerry's?
People just barefoot in the woods,
totally
smoking a lot of pot.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's sports at all.
Sorry, I don't want to just distill that fine institution down to I don't know, some kind of stereotype. All right, 855-212-4227. Somewhere out there, there's a Catamounts fan that's very upset with us right now. 855-212-4227. Okay, we have lots more to do, including, again, the only hope for the Raiders. It's actually very simple. It's right in front of their faces. All they got to do is just the right thing. It's right there. We'll tell you what it is next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Oh, yo. L-O. Man, he's got a whip full bass swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. Now that's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score. EJ's ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor. Oh, maybe put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friend. Man, he's in the zone like he's up at the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny in his back to take the stage. While Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh, Manny, put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friend. Manny's in the zone like he's up at the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny in his back to take the stage. While Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh, Manny, put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's still swinging, causing a fuss. EJ's just hoping he doesn't get crushed. And Peter Belotti, as we all know, is a no-show again. What a pro. Put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Belotti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's still swinging, causing a fuss. EJ's just hoping he doesn't get crushed. And Peter... Marty's a Raiders fan, silver and black. Watches Maggie and Perloff, never off track. He's cheering for Vegas all season long, but there's a twist in this song that's gone wrong. Oh, Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're like a ghost in the studio. Marty's here cheering, all Raiders pride, but Peter's missing again. He's denied. My screams just win, baby, like Al Davis said. But Peter Belotti's still stuck in bed. Maggie and Perloff, they're holding the fort, while Peter's clocking 0 in the attendance report. Oh, Peter Bellotti, where did you go? You're like a ghost in the studio. Body's here cheering, all Raiders pride, but Peter's missing again. He's denied. Never misses a beat, but Belotti's at home with his slippers on his feet.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. I just realized when Manny got in my ear and said, EJ's not back in the room yet. EJ, our executive producer, picks a Defensive Player of the Week. And usually we have some entertaining chit-chat about who we may pick. But I have a choice.
Well, I said to Manny, do you know who it is? He goes, no. I go, well, then you better pick somebody. And in my ear, he goes, OG Anunoby. So OG Anunoby is the Defensive Player of the Week, according to Manny.
I got a good one. Now, it wasn't a defensive play that he earned this for, but T'Vondre Sweat, the Titans lineman, when he stiff-armed a guy, I can't remember who he stiff-armed.
In the Bengals game?
Yeah, in the Bengals game. He ripped the ball out of or somebody ripped the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. Was rumbling down the field. They're actually showing it on NFL Network right now. This guy's got to be
the biggest person you've ever seen.
After lunch, he's 395, and he's stiff arm guy. He's running. He's making moves.
That boy's thick.
93. It is so entertaining. I don't know if that's is that a defensive play? Because if you're going to do, I mean, Micah Parsons was dominant. That's the one that jumped to mind too. But I think the T'Vondre Sweat return deserves acknowledgement. You got any candidates?
He's 6'4", 366, and what do you say, 395 after lunch?
Yeah. No, he is. He is big. This is just a wonderful, wonderful play. I feel really bad for the Bengals guy who's probably 295. He looked like you're playing with your kid or something. Anyway, that's my choice, T'Vondre Sweat with Micah Parsons as the backup. You got one?
I like that one. EJ, who is it?
I left the hint for you guys in yesterday's NFL in 60, but seems like you didn't pick up what I was leaving. So Defensive Player of the Week this week is Derek Stingley, who had 2 picks in the Texans win over the Dolphins, including a highlight reel pick taking the ball away from Tyreek Hill in the final drive that sealed Tua's fate. That was his 3rd pick of the game. Derek Stingley, stud, Defensive Player of the Week, Navy Federal.
great choice because he has been awesome. We've been talking about some of the fallout from the games last night, the Monday night games, and while Minnesota's got designs on the number 1 overall seed in the NFC and maybe a deep playoff run, there's teams that are just floundering. The Bears are one of them. Perloff thinks that Caleb Williams is on his way to becoming a bust.
That's not exactly what I said.
It's in so many words. And
no, it's not. Come on. I don't want that to be cut. Like, I'm saying, like, the bust potential is huge here, and I see his success being somewhere else. Unless the Bears get this right, and I don't think the structure of the front office is going to get it right. So I don't see it working in Chicago. I think he's probably a Pro Bowler elsewhere.
Well, the Bears are, one of the original franchises. There's so much great history there. And to be honest, the Raiders, who also lost last night in a one-score game against the Falcons, are one of those fan bases that are coast to coast. A lot like the Steelers, a lot like the Cowboys, one of those really famous franchises where you'll always meet a Raider fan. You don't have to be in Oakland or San Francisco or Vegas. Or LA. So I was thinking about them last night as I'm watching them just be terrible. I mean, they're just bad. And what's going to change? And right now they have the number 1 overall pick in the draft. So sure, take Shedeur, take Cam Ward, whoever, is your fancy. They've got to hope that Tom Brady, as one of the new minority owners, can be as insightful in the front office as he was on the field, Perloff. And we don't have a lot of evidence that says great players necessarily make great general managers. Some you do, like the Ozzie Newsomes and stuff like that, who are great players and phenomenal in the front office. John Lynch, great player, looks like a great general manager. Others.
LA won 1 Super Bowl, then had some mixed results. But
yeah, LA couldn't find a quarterback, though, until Peyton Manning basically decided to come to Denver. But that aside, they got to hope that Tom Brady is the not-so-secret weapon because they don't have a clue. This team makes no sense. And I don't have a lot of faith in Tom Telesco, who was a longtime GM of the Chargers, who's now involved. They decided to go with Antonio Pierce because Devontae Adams thought it was a good idea. He's gone, and Max Crosby liked him. Max Crosby's hurt. I just don't trust this team at all. And the only hope they have is if Tom Brady comes in there and has some kind of magic touch.
This seems like fantastical thinking, magical thinking that Tom Brady is going to say. I mean, you watched the game last night. I did see there was a lot of Mark Davis pictures. Like, if he's the owner, I just don't see it happening. And I'm sorry, I don't think Tom Brady can have that much influence. It just feels like they're so far away. There was a funny moment, I think you might have seen this too, where they show Tom Telesco sitting up in the booth, and immediately the announcers start talking about Tom Brady. Like, Telesco is an afterthought. Yeah. They're like, oh, by the way, that was Tom Telesco, who is just the most generic-looking guy. I think this idea that Brady's going to save all this is ridiculous. I mean, he's a minority owner. He's not the GM. He's not Jerry Jones. He's not picking the players. And also, what picking players? They're going to have the 1 or 2 pick. They're going to pick either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. What is Tom Brady? It's a coin flip. What is Tom Brady going to do here?
Oh, there's lots of decisions that have to be made with the Raiders. You have to, and by the way, reportedly Tom Brady is going to be involved in the draft pick. So I don't know how much tape he's going to be grinding. At least he can meet with the players. I don't know. But they need a head coach. Tom Brady should be involved in that.
Well, who's he going to bring? Josh McDaniels? Like, what's Tom Brady's decision? Like, why? Again, like, great players don't necessarily pick great coaches.
This is why the Raiders have to hope that Brady's going to buck the trend. Because you're saying, oh, he's just a minority owner. What could he do? Let's not pretend like he's any other minority owner. It's not
you're
Vince
right.
Carter
He's
buying into the Bills. Like, he actually has a brain that could be tapped into to try to help this team.
Well, I think the Bills should rely heavily on Vinsanity, first of all, and Tracy McGrady, which is the greatest minority ownership stake of any team of all time.
Yeah, not a lot of winning between those two, though.
Oh, what are you talking about? Vince Carter made Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Cool.
Wait. No. You can slander anybody. If you're going to talk about T-Mac and Vince Carter, I just don't want to hear it. Anyway, Tom Brady, he's got to fight a lot of dysfunction in that front office. And, like, look at his coaching friends. Like, who's he going to hire? Bruce Arians?
Maybe.
He didn't even like him at the end.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe Byron Leftwich comes back around.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Louise.
But here's the thing. Yeah, it can't be a Belichick disciple because all of them famously fail, except for, I guess, Bill O'Brien, who doesn't have a terrible record as a head coach, who would probably jump at the opportunity. So again, I know the track record's not there. I know that Derek Jeter didn't help the Miami Marlins very much. I know that Wayne Gretzky wasn't a great coach with the Phoenix Coyotes. I know Magic Johnson wasn't an awesome GM. He quit the Lakers because he wanted to be Magic Johnson more than he wanted to be the GM of the Lakers. I get it's a mixed bag, but this is the hope for the Raiders, that Tom Brady comes in with a couple fresh ideas, a fresh perspective, and just a thought about how to get this thing an identity for this team, because they've got nothing right now.
Yeah, I mean, also, the one thing that they really have working against them is this division. I mean, you got Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. So I think you have to be patient. I would go with a young guy and try and build I always say Sean McVay. Like Sean McVay came into the Rams and just reversed things immediately. Something like that. I would take a big swing here.
Isn't Sean McVay aren't we learning that maybe he was a bit of the outlier?
I don't know. Shanahan turned around the Niners real fast. It's more like the turnarounds, like a lot of, I personally think like it's a young man's game. I would go for the 35-year-old wonderkid, Mike Tomlin. I think of those guys, like, where's the 65-year-old who comes in and saves the day, unless the team's ready to go? Andy Reid is maybe the outlier, not Sean McVay.
855-212-4227. Do you have any faith that Brady can help the Raiders now that he's a minority owner? Also coming up, interesting comments from Penn State head coach James Franklin. We'll get to the college ranks. We've got college football playoff games happening in 4 days. 17th.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Take a pause from last night's Monday Night Football games for a second to check in on what's going on with college football. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Impossible situation going on right now before the college football playoff starts, Pearl. And yesterday, Penn State head coach James Franklin outlined this because their starting quarterback, Drew Aller, decided to come back to college for 2025. Okay,
Nice.
That's his right. So Drew Aller's coming back for another year with the Nittany Lions, but that means their backup quarterback, Bo Prabula, kind of has no choice in this day and age except to transfer. He's a sophomore, doesn't want to sit behind Aller anymore. There's a lot of money out there that he could make, so he had to enter the transfer portal, and that means you've got to be off the team. So he's been the backup. He's had to get into games at times, but this is sort of a no-win situation because this is all about next year, while this year is still happening for 12 teams.
Yeah. Now, to me, this is bad, right? We all agree this is not ideal, but it's not the big one, which would be a starting quarterback sitting out, which I would think would be, by the way, like you look at the 12 teams, I'm sure there are quarterbacks who are calling their coach right now and says, if I don't get $4 more million, I'm not playing in this 12-team playoff. I mean, maybe not that specifically, but you look at the quarterbacks, like they all have to consider, like Kevin Jennings at SMU. You don't think he's looking at a different program? Like he's got to get a new NIL deal. So do you pay him now? Just this bizarre kind of transfer portal, NIL free agency, like it affects deeply. And like, I think they should be excited that no starting quarterbacks are sitting out because it's got to be in consideration. I mean, if you're in one of these 12 teams, you can't wait because of the musical chairs of the quarterback spots. Like all the transfer spots are going to be gone. All the money's going to be gone by the time this is over.
So here is James Franklin. Manny, can I hear cut 3? Because Franklin is basically saying, Bo Prabula did not want to transfer, their backup quarterback. He's from the area too, right? Isn't he he's like a Harrisburg guy, I think. He did not want to transfer from Penn State, but he felt like he was left with no choice. And James Franklin is now questioning where is the leadership for college football that's putting these young people in this predicament.
Number one, I hate for it. Number one, most importantly, for Bo Prabula. I don't think it's in the best interest of the student athlete. I don't think it's in the best interest of college football. But I think that's our challenge right now, right? Who is really running college football and making the best decisions for the student athletes and for our sport as a whole? Bo should not be put in this position.
It's a great point. Franklin went on to say, Manny, can I hear cut 4? What college football needs is a commissioner.
To have a transfer portal / free agency going on right in the middle of the playoffs, there's just a lot of things that don't really make sense. And I know there's been a lot of discussions about, maybe a commissioner of college football, but I think it's pretty obvious we need that.
Agree. Because college football is changing at such a rapid rate, Perloff, that you need somebody to come in, and whether it's going to be on an NFL model, you're going to have a commissioner and teams on one side, and then you're going to have labor and unions on the other side, and see if you guys can come to agreements in that way. At least somebody to get rid of the dumb stuff. Like, this is dumb. To have the transfer portal be open before the bowl games are over just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I think they try to match it up with some of the academic calendars because we're still, keeping up that ruse in major college football about school. But it doesn't even match up with all different schools. Some are on trimester, some are on semesters, some, you're never going to please everybody that way. So why try?
So you realize what you're saying, though. You're saying you should have unions.
Yeah.
And you're saying you should have contracts.
Totally.
So then what you basically have is a minor league football. There's nothing college about any of that.
Are we not headed towards that way?
So let me ask you another question. Like, does an Alabama contracted football player have to attend the University of Alabama?
Well, we can hammer out those details. To me,
that's a pretty big detail.
Well, from the football side of it, I think is the bigger detail is, are these all 1-year deals like what we have now in the transfer portal? Does the 1 year include any postseason? Like, do you have to play in the bowl game as part of your contract? Is everyone going to negotiate a different type of contract? Is it going to be boilerplate and standard? Are there going to be standardized salary caps and caps for each position? All this stuff that has to get worked out to me before are they actually going to school part.
No, it's not even that. I'm just saying you can't dip your toe in these little changes. You have to decide, are these pro athletes, full pro athletes under contract, or are they not? Like, before you get a commissioner, before you get everything, you have to decide as a sport and the conferences and the administrators and all these guys, like, is it just pro? Is it just, but you can't, you're trying to piecemeal this, and like, there's no just keep on doing half measures to satisfy, make it pro or don't make it pro.
I have a thought on this. I think that if you still want the college affiliations, which I think is important, to have your alma mater.
Of course.
It's really important for the sport. I just think it is. What I think you do, if you go to college to play football at a Power 4 or Group of 5, however serious you want to make it with where you go, you enroll in a football program that includes the academic side. So what you do is you play football and you air quotes major in football. That means you take financial literacy classes. It means that you take all the things that you would need to be a full football player. That's the academic course. And it doesn't have to be the same amount of hours, and it doesn't have to be, the way that an English major would go to college. But how about all the things that would support a college athlete? You major in football.
God, it's so funny. I've been hearing this idea, like, why aren't college football players taking accounting classes? Like, they're going to pay attention to any of that and know how to get out of here. They're 18-year-old kids. You put them in any accounting class, they're going to be just as bored as anyone else would be in an accounting class. I just don't think that idea, that's still a joke. College is to learn. If you're going to have them be students, be real students. But that's regardless of the point. Like, you understand what you're saying. Like, my alma mater, Dartmouth College of Men's Basketball, famously, was a year or two ago now, tried to unionize.
Yep.
And it got passed by the National Labor Union Board. Have you noticed that catching on?
No.
Not at all. And you know what just happened? Donald Trump just won the presidency. Guess what is not going to help it catch on? There's been no movement towards unions. And you need that. To even start this conversation, you need to organize the players. Okay. And that's not happening.
But here's the thing. Not all is lost here because, I have not heard a lot about Dartmouth unionizing, and that catching on. But you know what I have seen? There is going to be some kind of sharing of the money.
You know what I have not seen is any confirmation on the House versus NCAA ruling. You think that's going to pass?
So allegedly, July 1st is when you get revenue sharing, which is the word I was looking for. So a lot of instead of it just being NIL and boosters, essentially paying to get players, now it is going to be more of a revenue share.
Maybe.
Well, it doesn't appear to be trending in that
No,
direction.
It does not at all.
Then how did people get this July 1st? Like, everyone's acting. I'm hearing Bill Belichick on a dais talking about North Carolina, talking about revenue sharing.
It could be, but it's wildly up in the air. Nobody knows how that case is going to go. Did you see recently it's House versus NCAA, the revenue sharing case you're talking about?
Yeah.
The people on the House side wrote a letter to the judge saying, if you rule in favor of revenue sharing, you also have to court mandate that unions are created for these players, which obviously the court has no authority to do. But like there is just like it's becoming a mess. You know how college football is. You're assuming that there's some reasonable, orderly way this is all going to go down. I think it's just chaos, and it's going to be more chaos. I agree. Listen, I'm playing a little devil's advocate. Yes, I like a commissioner, and I do like a more firm contract, and I do like this, like move back. But you cannot predict college football. It's unruly and crazy right now.
It is, but at the same time, I've watched the sport change into something completely different in the course of 4 years. It's not like we had to wait all this time for NIL. NIL started, caught fire, started with the states, it started spreading, transfer portal. It was just going to be kids and young men and women who had like medical reasons or could apply to transfer right away. Now it's in 2 years, it's just transfer whenever you want, wherever you want. I've seen unprecedented change in the sport. And the sport continues. So I don't know why I wouldn't see that at a lightning pace.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't it keep going at this rapid?
Yeah, no, it will, but it will not go in any predictable. I would start when Ed O'Bannon noticed his image on the video game. That's when it all started to me. And then won through the courts and got name, image, and likeness to become a thing. My point is like, it's not going to be orderly. I think like there's going to be issues like this. And these guys, James Franklin, it just annoys me that James Franklin has an $85 million contract. And whether he's saying it or not, he's saying like this guy, I prefer that he didn't have to earn the highest paid contract. I prefer that he didn't go for the money.
Well, whether he wanted to keep the backup quarterback or not, this is how the whole conversation started, is James Franklin, the head coach of Penn State, who's in the college football playoff, playing Indiana. Is that game Friday?
SMU, right?
Oh, excuse me, SMU.
Yeah.
SMU, they play Saturday noon.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's playing Indiana. How dare I forget that Indiana matchup. But here's the thing. He said that his backup quarterback just transferred, had to hit the portal because a starter said he's coming back.
Yeah, so...
And this is how our whole conversation started, which is Franklin said, I feel bad for the guy because he didn't want to transfer, number one, but the fact that the starter's coming back, and now if he wants to start because he's a redshirt sophomore, he's got to leave the program, and the only way he can do that under these rules is to do it before they play in the college football playoff. It does feel like a terrible predicament this young man's being put in.
So he's not saying that it stinks that he has to leave the program. He's saying it'd be better if it was after the playoff.
That's how I interpret it.
But I also kind of interpreted James Franklin being a little greedy, be like, I wish I could just keep this guy on my depth chart.
Well, I don't think he was going to keep him unless Drew Aller was going to move on. So,
but I think he was implying like he's got to lead. Like in the past, that guy could have stayed at Penn State because there wouldn't be a $2 million contract waiting at some ACC school. I think that was going on too. Like I think without NIL, Bo Prabula would have stayed probably. I think.
I don't know. He might just want to play. He might just want a chance to start. Now, the other interesting thing, did you guys see this as a tangential note? Did you see Brian Kelly, head coach at LSU, obviously, is matching a $1 million NIL pledge with his own $1 million?
I'm here with my family.
Expensive family.
Feels illegal.
Doesn't it? I'm like, okay, so now every coach should have to do that. What's stopping Dan Lanning and Deion Sanders and all these coaches that are making lots of money?
Also feels like a competitive advantage because he signed a massive deal that, Rhett Lashley doesn't have, right, at SMU.
We just signed a new deal, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still not like,
Wait,
what I mean?
What's, beep up, back. Explain what Brian Kelly's going to do. He's going to match, he's going to match... one player specifically for $1 million or multiple players, or how's this work?
There was an NIL pledge for $1 million. A donor, somebody gave $1 million. You can use it as your discretion.
To the collective, right?
To the collective for name, image, and likeness. And Brian Kelly said he's going to match it with his own $1 million.
That doesn't feel like any kind. So he's going to donate $1 million to the collective. It's unusual, but it doesn't sound like a violation. How is that a violation? There's no salary cap.
No, I know. It's just...
Well, coaches aren't supposed to pay players. NIL collectives are.
Right. Like,
so if he's contributing to the collective, isn't that coaches paying for players?
Like how it is right now is the collective sort of outside of the.
No, but it's not anymore. I mean, that's that's really faux. I mean, the schools are.
I mean, you literally have general managers of the school.
Yeah, like they have like Ohio State had a $20 million budget this year. Everyone knew that. I understand. Like you're saying, let's like, yes, a coach is technically not supposed to pay for players, but technically these collectors, these collectives are supposed to be marketing. Like they throw in a little marketing line into all the contracts. Yeah. I mean, it's a joke.
But now, shouldn't every coach, if you're making a significant amount of money, wouldn't you feel the pressure to do this? And why is it $2 million, $5 million? If I'm making Brian Kelly money, or I'm making, who else is super high paid? Marcus Freeman now just signed a new deal. If I'm Ryan Day,
not at all. I would just hope the other recruits didn't hear about that. No, I would not give my own money. The key is like you gotta organize everyone to give their money.
Yeah, I know. And Brian Kelly is saying, I got you.
Yeah, I hate this. This feels, I know there are no rules. I know this is the Wild Wild West. This feels like it should be banned. I hate this.
I think it's generous of him. Like, why let the boosters pay if, like, this guy is getting overpaid like crazy? He's like, I'm going to give back some of this money.
Well, now tinfoil hat. I'm wondering if the NIL collective told him, hey, buddy. This is
another
your
3-loss season.
Yeah, this is your pay cut here.
Yeah.
Just like we saw the guy from FSU, Norvell, had to give back a bunch of money for stinking.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
This is that.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
By the way, did you guys notice? I don't know if you're following the pardons. Did anyone notice the famous booster who got pardoned?
No.
Oh, I saw it.
Nevin Shapiro, the corrupt Miami booster who was a big part of that, got pardoned by Joe Biden.
Has he been in jail this whole time?
He's been on house arrest for the last 2 years.
And doing podcasts, apparently.
Yeah, I just thought it was very funny. Like, why would Joe Biden bother? Like, does he have some tie to the Hurricanes? Just feels like the most random. I mean, the guy luckily was not in jail anymore. He was at home. But still, that is a weird pardon.
Yeah, everyone from Miami's pissed. I assumed it's something to do with Donna Shalala, and there may be a Biden connect there.
She was a former
She's the president. Yeah, well, she was president of the school, but she was a Democratic congresswoman.
Yeah.
But she was a cabinet member,
and
too,
a cabinet member.
Under Clinton.
There's something there.
That's so funny.
Did you see what Nevin Shapiro said on this podcast, though?
He has a podcast talking about what? College football and how to sneak cocaine to underage people?
It's not his podcast, but it was actually on Adam Jones, Pac-Man Jones' podcast. And
that was allegedly, by the way.
Yeah, and he said that the Giants have already decided to draft Cam Ward.
Oh, I remember you had told me that. Let me ask you a question. Is Nevin Shapiro allowed to get in the NIL game? Because I assume now that everything's up front, he could be a very effective NIL organizer.
Miami should not take his money.
Effective? With what? The bracelet on his ankle?
Well, no, he's pardoned now. He's free.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, if you want to connect players with money, I think Nevin Shapiro is your guy.
Does he have any left?
He's a rat, though.
Well, I mean, he can Ponzi scheme it up and get more money. I don't know.
That's so Miami. If
Miami
they welcomed him back.
Wait, who's he a rat on the program?
Was that?
He's a rat on the program?
Yeah, he basically, because the program wouldn't protect him, he went and told the NCAA, hey, here's all the people I've been paying and all the weird strip clubs I've been taking them to. Like, he did all that.
Yeah, that's Miami football.
Well, yeah, but you're not supposed to tell that to the Fed, bro.
Party on a yacht? I got dates, I got times, I got pictures.
Yeah, that's supposed to stay in-house. Like, if you get caught with a Ponzi scheme, that has nothing to do with the University of Miami. And now this guy is out free thanks to freaking Biden. Thanks, clown.
I love that EJ's like not mad that
he did it.
He's like, you got to hide that stuff when you illegally get players in here.
You have
like
to lie to the authorities.
They're good at that in the SEC.
Exactly.
Well, that's the other part. Now we're kind of circling all around this about Brian Kelly saying that he's pledging $1 million of his own dollars to the NIL collective. Sure. I'm like, how many coaches had to go through bagmen for years? Could never be traced back to them. Like somewhere, Rick Pitino is just like, what?
Yeah. But Garrett Nussmeier's coming back, so that's fun. LSU should be if they're not a top 25 team next year, so maybe Brian Kelly's money will go to good use.
Do you guys want a college football commissioner? We have a lot to break down with these matchups that are starting on Friday, by the way, which is super exciting. College football playoff in full effect. We also had a side conversation going on about Christmas, and I got a dilemma with my family, specifically my in-laws. We'll get to that in just a moment. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. prizepicks.com. All right, Maggie has a serious Christmas dilemma. She has tied her hands behind her back and will not online shop anymore. And also, she will not take wish lists. She does not want to know if you're buying a present for someone. She does not want to know what you want.
Well, my in-laws just do things very different than my family. They give each other specific links to exactly what they want. And this is not just the kids, by the way. This is the adults. They make it very easy. I'd like this sweater. I'd like these slippers. Here's the link. So then when we actually get to Christmas, there's really not a lot of surprises. We just sort of open gifts. Now, we have a lot of kids in the family, so it's all exciting. And there's Santa and all that. But yeah, my family, we just surprise, whatever.
Right. I feel like for the kids, I get it, but like the adults, there's no joy in getting presents, right? Or are you guys actually still looking forward to getting presents on Christmas? I've been disappointed for years.
And you've been giving out the wish list, so it's your own fault that you're disappointed.
Well, just for my parents and my in-laws. Then, yeah, there's a couple random ones, but no, it's too much pressure on Tom and Carol to have to try and figure out what I want.
I got you a gift card to your favorite restaurant last year.
That was awesome. that was huge. But so gift cards are okay because that's another polarizing topic.
I love them, but I know that some people lose them.
Yeah, I lost that.
I know you did. I tried.
So the Cheesecake Factory? You lost
Juniors. I lost it, but Maggie says she can reclaim it.
I made a call or two. It was tough. Craig's in Wisconsin. Craig, you have an idea for us.
Yes. First off, love the show. Love you guys. Starts my mornings out great. And Merry Christmas from northern Wisconsin.
Oh, thank you. Same to you and yours.
Thank you. My idea has a little life lesson and competition involved in it. For the competition part, you could change it up every year, but I'm thinking maybe like a target, like a bow and arrow target type thing, and the kids get snowballs. 1, 2, 3, whatever, and the kid who gets the most cumulative points gets to pick their draft order. And you do, let's say there's 6 kids or whatever, you buy 5 gifts that are and then 1 good gift, and then the draft order decides when they pick these gifts, and it's a crapshoot. And it's a life lesson that not everything goes your way all the time.
Wait, Craig, first of all, this sounds a little like on the nose. It sounds like you've done something like this before. You just invented this out of thin air?
I swear to God, I was on my way to work and I heard this whole thing this morning and I'm like, let's roll with this.
Okay.
I've never done this before.
Yeah. The other thing about that, and Craig, thank you for the call. It's inspired. Is Christmas morning really when we're doling out the life lessons? Isn't it just more about like joy and happiness and like a little bit of excess and,
Manny actually said something in my ear during that call. He's like, just send out the links, dude. I'm kind of down with that. Like a draft order? What?
I'm looking forward to my OG Anunoby jersey coming from my brother and my sister-in-law. You know why? Because I sent them a link.
No surprises, and you don't want to be surprised. Because if it shows up and it's R.J. Barrett, you're going to be ticked off.
Oh, no, he loves R.J. Barrett.
I love R.J. Barrett. If it's an Alfred Payton jersey, I'll probably throw it back at them.
Sorry, if it's Nerlens
Do
Noel.
they make those?
If it's a Raymond Felton throwback, you're not going to be happy.
That'd be sick.
That actually, I might keep that.
That'd be the chubbiest point guard to ever play in the NBA.
I was going to say, who's chubbier, him or your brother?
You were sitting courtside a couple weeks ago. Oh, boy.
Oh, no. I don't want to know.
It was on the road, too. I forgot who they were playing. I was like, oh, he did a road trip. And
Do you know when there's a guy in Division
Stopped
One?
at every Wendy's on the way? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah.
When there's a Division One basketball game and there's a slightly chubby point guard, you're like, that dude can ball. Because if you can be chubby and get on the court like Khalid El-Amin or somebody, then you got skills. It's like Maradona.
Those are the best college basketball players.
Yeah. Oh, Khalid El-Amin was amazing.
Chubby the point guard, the better
Chubby
you
players are creative. Like, you never know if they're going left or right because they don't have the speed.
What was the guy? Levance Fields from Pitt.
Do you guys remember?
Oh, yeah.
What was the guy from Boston College who was a Celtic? I think John Bagley.
Oh, John Bagley.
Back in the day.
He played with my dad's cousin at BC.
There you go. No way.
Yeah, my second cousin, he played at BC, RP, Terrence Talley. Played with John Bagley in Boston College.
I didn't know there was such a love for chubby point guards on this show. Maybe that could be our lane. It's like, so what's new about the Maggie and Perloff show? It's like, well, just running down our favorite chubby point guards.
Again.
Baron Davis, does he count? He kind of yo-yoed.
He was so athletic as a young player that it's hard.
Darren Williams?
Oh,
Later
he was
years.
a great one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
After he signed that $100 million deal, all of a sudden it was like, whoa.
He was always a little heavy set, though.
Yeah, even
Oh, even
early
in
Utah
college?
days.
Yeah,
And in Illinois.
He was at Illinois. Was he there with Deke Brown?
He was. That was
And Luther Head, he was the third guard.
That was like the last great national championship game to me. Illinois, North Carolina. That game. Raymond Felton on the other side. Great chubby point guard match there.
They just they did belly bumps before the game started. Oh, by the way, when we say chubby, these guys are maybe 1% overweight.
Yeah.
Definitely. By the way,
Air
one
quotes.
person who wasn't 1% overweight who played in that game, Sean May, MVP.
Oh, many percents overweight.
Yes.
But he's a good assistant coach, I think, now.
He is.
The other, we need a great debate for tomorrow. I was thinking it should be something holidays related, but now I'm thinking it's best fat athlete.
Yeah.
Did we do that yet?
That's a tough
Can
one.
we do it?
Is that,
We
you mean as
we
a
have not
PC?
done that when we should.
I get big sexy.
Bartolo, number 1 seed.
Who we learned to use steroids and didn't work apparently.
That was a shame. Also had a secret family. That was a fun headline.
There are a lot of NBA. We could almost do just basketball players. Remember Tractor Trailer?
Of course.
Mark Aguirre was never thin. That guy was huge.
Sorry, I know that we don't want to use the F word.
Husky.
Sorry.
Football,
You're
you
saying
can't.
chubby. That seems pejorative.
Football, you can't do that though, because
Well, you can't tell.
I mean those
The
guys
bigger
are
guys are all muscle.
Yeah, they're enormous.
No, that Titan defensive lineman who picked up a fumble and ran over 4 guys was not. He was fat.
Devondre Sweat.
Yeah.
But what do you do with like Haloti Nada?
He's fat. He could be on the
What
list.
do you do with Larry Allen?
Vince Wilfork.
No. Larry
Husky.
Allen and Haloti Nada were not like there's some guys who are way bigger than that.
Yeah, but they all.
Ted Washington was gigantic.
What about Saragusa?
Oh, Vince Wilfork.
Yeah,
Wilfork. Gilbert
Wilfork
Brown.
could move. I mean, he's a guy's had quick feet.
That's why he's the best.
And fat feet.
Do you remember the
Miami
Packers?
King.
Gilbert Brown, 96, 97 Super
Yes.
Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was
He had
enormous.
the best football aesthetic because he had he not only was he like 370, but then he had like the supersized shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And he had like that face mask that had like 100 lines on them and a dark visor. I'm like, and playing at Lambeau Field, I'm like, that guy is out to hurt people. I love Gilbert Brown.
Well, we basically just did it. Are we going to save it for tomorrow?
Yeah,
Great debate?
I think Bogusch's instinct that this is kind of a rude topic probably is like, yeah.
All right.
Because we're all pretty skinny over here.
We probably couldn't
Speak for
tweet.
yourself, Perloff.
Tweeting who our favorite fat athletes probably wouldn't go over
We
well.
don't have to use the F word. I realize I shouldn't have said that.
Husky.
Big boned.
Yeah.
Big bone. Are we getting the coaches?
Rotund.
Are we getting the coaches involved?
the coaches
man.
would be game, set, match. Andy Reid.
Well, yeah, but he looks thin now, so I don't know.
He does?
What?
Yeah, Andy Reid has lost. I think he's probably lost
Off the
80
mustache?
pounds.
Vitamin
You seen
O?
Andy Reid lately?
Ozempic?
Yeah. Andy Reid is not like Mike McCarthy's stomach. Now that's something to see.
But Andy Reid's not like Drew Carey thin.
I'll bet. All right, I could be totally wrong. I bet you he's lost significant weight.
Wait, the same Andy Reid? Is there a different Andy Reid who coaches
I will
somewhere
do
else?
a before and after photo that I will present to all of you in the next segment.
But he's still Andy Reid.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's all.
He's not Matt Patricia, who like the internet didn't know who he was on TV the other day because he's lost so much weight.
I mean, Andy Reid's literally doing a commercial where he says nuggies. And he can't get enough of them. Bogusch says headlines. We'll workshop this whole great debate chubby athlete thing.
Headlines are sponsored by PXG Golf. For high-quality, high-performance golf clubs, apparel that delivers style and comfort, premium golf balls, award-winning gloves, and more, make it a PXG holiday for the golfer in your life. Find the PXG store near you at pxg.com.
You suck, Bogusch.
The Vikings actually won twice this weekend. The first was Sunday night when they clinched their playoff spot because the Seahawks lost to the Packers. No champagne, though, was popped.
We just talked about it for literally I think 5 minutes. I think that was about the celebration that we had last night.
Sam Darnold said that after win number 2, 30-12 over the Bears, Minnesota extending its win streak to 7, joining the Lions at 12-2. It was another dud, meanwhile, for the Bears, who dropped to 4-10. Interim head coach Thomas Brown doesn't want to hear your speculation that his guys have quit on the season.
I think if you watch the tape, our guys battled into the very end. So I think saying that we don't have a lot of left in the tank alludes to our guys quit. And I didn't see it at all.
But his offense couldn't produce 300 yards, went 1 for 12 on third down last night. The Falcons held under 300, never reached the red zone, but they won in Vegas 15-9 to snap a 4-game skid. Kirk Cousins just 11 for 17, 112 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Atlanta sits a game behind the Bucs for first in the NFC South, while the Raiders skid hits 10. They stay even with the Giants for the worst record in the league. Now, we joked about Oklahoma State QB Alan Bowman recently when the NCAA awarded him an 8th season of eligibility. But now Bowman's joking that 7 was enough, he declares yesterday, for the NFL draft. The Nuggets winning.
That's like me declaring for the NFL draft. That dude ain't getting drafted.
Well, DJ declared yesterday, too.
Yeah, DJU.
If you want to have a fun time, read the comments on DJU's tweet that he's declaring for the NFL draft.
Don't want him reading a book that said CDL.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't think the public is into DJU's
Did the draft decline?
Well, everyone's like, well, maybe as a tight end if you're lucky, but like, what are there 14 rounds now? Is this a UFL draft? That kind of stuff.
Well, Alan Bowman's social media post was signed the last Bedlam winning QB.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's true.
In
but
1994,
is that
when he was also the QB?
Is that what he's going to go on for the rest of his life?
Yeah, I
Probably
bet he'll make a lot of money off of that. Alan Bowman Chevrolet, it just rolls off the tongue.
I saw a graphic the other day of Trevor Lawrence and Cam Rising being in the same recruiting class, and like their journeys were very similar. Like they were the same Elite 11, and now Cam Rising's coming back, and Trevor Lawrence will be in year 6, I think.
I mean, does Cam Rising have like a family of 4?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, actually, I don't know if he is coming back, but why not? Like a guy like Alan Bowman, he can't go pro. There's no pros for him, is there? Bogusch, get put on your draft hat.
Moving on to the NBA, the Nuggets won in Sacramento last night, 131-29 after trailing by 10 with 4 to go. Nikola Jokic, 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 14 assists. The Cavs, an easy 130-101 win in Brooklyn, and the Clippers hammer the Jazz, 144-107. All of that an appetizer for the Super Bowl of the NBA. The Cup is up for grabs tonight in Vegas as the Bucs meet the Thunder. Judging by the TV ratings and our conversation during the last break, we all needed to be reminded of that information. The NBA Cup ends tonight. It's the Bucs and the Thunder.
I was right.
You were right, but Perloff didn't know, and it took you 45 seconds to be right.
I just had to think about it a little, and I arrived at the right answer.
It's fantastic. Meanwhile, a Stanley Cup rematch last night in Edmonton.
Back behind the net, Ekholm. Backhand near side. Missed the intended man. Mikula holds it in. Down to Bennett. In front. Verhaeghe. A shot. He scores! And the Panthers take the lead once again. It's 6-5. Carter Verhaeghe right out in front.
That is Panthers radio. Carter Verhaeghe getting Florida the 6-5 decision over the Oilers. In case you're fiending for a Paul brother in a boxing ring, Logan Paul apparently set to box, in air quotes, Conor McGregor in India in a date to be set. McGregor would then return to UFC.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The other Paul is going to box, loose use of that term, Conor McGregor, was going to be back in the octagon, hurt his foot, and now will do this and then fight MMA again in the future.
So Conor obviously fought Floyd Mayweather. Mm-hmm. I was at that fight, I'll admit. In India, at a TBD time and play, a TBD, this could be 2025, this could be 2026?
I don't think it'd be 2026. No, I think it's more near term than that. It would certainly be within 2025.
I thought there was a question about, was Conor all buttoned up with things going on in his personal life? Are we still asking those questions or no?
Well, then he just lost a rape lawsuit.
Yeah, right.
There's that
in Ireland.
A civil lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm. And then he also has been the questions about PED use
and just a lot of partying. I thought too.
He just seems off the rails. I'm so sick of this.
When was he on the rails?
I mean, true, but it seems a little extreme now.
And didn't people even question the injury that kept him out of the UFC thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, that they thought maybe the date got pushed back / postponed forever because he was out of shape.
Out of
Or
shape
something.
or using something. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. I can't wait.
I got one more thing if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a little, a word of wisdom for our single young friend, Manny.
Is Manny single?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now, holiday season, you can get a little lonely, but the advice...
What is happening?
The advice of doctors is to not take a lover just for the sake of taking a lover because you might get snowmanned. Do you know that term?
I'm not familiar with it. No, please.
Do you
educate
want
me.
to get snowman?
I don't think so.
You could be in a snowmanning situation, which is like the snow melting off a snowman is like the allure of the crush wearing off as the holidays end. And then you're back to lonely and or riddled with STDs, according to this New York Post article
Wait a
that
minute,
Perloff
what?
shared yesterday.
Yes. Can I read the headline?
Yeah.
Frosty snowmanning dating trend could spread STIs, doctors warn. So I said that. I'm like, oh, there's some sort of new move out there called snowmanning.
Start stretching.
Something I'm not aware of. I'm interested, and it spreads STIs. What is this move?
What just happened to me?
It just means finding someone in December, dating them, and then dumping them, and you could get syphilis from that, according to New York Post.
Oh, my goodness. What year is it? Manny's not on the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
He didn't say scurvy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Our doctor's warning against a troubling sexual winter trend of snowmanning that could leave you at risk for catching syphilis, herpes, and gonorrhea. And that's not to mention catching feelings.
Wait a minute. First of all,
So be careful, Manny.
Thanks
This
for the
just-
wisdom, Jen.
so this just means casually dating in the holiday time ups your risk for an STD?
I mean, it doesn't seem too scientific.
Yeah.
Also, is there snow womaning out there? Like, we're just kind of assuming that
God, you
it's...
want everything, huh?
yeah, equal everything, guys. It's called feminism.
I don't think
Get used to it.
I think this is for men and women. For some reason, they have
Snow people,
They have a
Wayne.
picture of a melted snowman.
Poor Frosty. My goodness.
I was going to say, Frosty and Olaf got together.
no.
It's because the feelings melt away like the snowman melts away as the weather changes.
I thought, where were feelings in this entire thing? Perloff added that at the end.
No, that's in there.
Oh,
That's
it
in
is?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, however, once the drinks stop flowing and the decorations come down, sometimes the initial burst of chemistry wears off.
LOL.
That is true.
The drink stopped flowing.
I don't know. This seems a little suspect to me.
I feel like you do a lot of dumb things in December. Then January 1st, you're like, I'm going to the gym and I'm cleaning this whole act up.
Yeah, and then spring break happens and you make the same mistakes. That's why I'm not buying this.
EJ knows the calendar.
Yeah. Spring break,
Set your watch to it.
Christmas.
So STIs are
4th
just
of July-
always out
4th
there,
of
as we were
July.
saying?
Yes,
They're not
exactly.
calendar dependent?
Oh, that's exactly my
Okay.
point, is that there's no increase because, the Christmas tree went up on Rockefeller Center.
It's seasonal STDs.
Thanks for the holiday gift.
Act like the Rockefeller Center tree is the bat signal for STIs. Come on now.
Oh, I got it. Sorry.
There's something about Rudolph that lit up red, but I thought it was the nose. I don't think it was a swab.
There's another term. Have you guys ever heard the dating trend including sledging? And it's not what it sounds like. It's when a singleton drags someone along through the holidays with the intention of dumping them come New Year's.
Oof.
Sledging. So you basically need a date for the holiday parties. Have you ever done that, Manny?
Why am I getting singled out like this? No, I haven't. I have not sledged. I have not snowmanned. I have not STI'd.
Have you been sledged?
I don't think so. And if I have,
You wouldn't. She did a good job then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Here's the question, though. You want to have someone through the holidays and then nobody for the new year when it gets cold and dark and gray and lonely? Don't
Well,
you
it's
want the person
like
to
that in
stay with
November.
you?
No, you need that kiss on New Year's Eve, and then after it, it's
Never
like,
heard of you.
Yeah, then it's like I got to get the to-do list.
Like
you
we
know, I
get
got
to the
clean.
VD clinic
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get rid of this
Yeah, I got to
snowmanning.
take 2 weeks worth of penicillin and get to the gym. That is my New Year's resolution.
Wipe down those machines, everyone.
Yeah.
Hose them down, more like it. 855-212-4227. All right, more on Manny's personal life and the Lions next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Dan Campbell fired up this morning on radio in Detroit, Perloff.
Like all mornings.
Yeah, the guy just wakes up, pounds a cup full of nails, and just, I don't know, claws his eyes out for a little bit and then goes to work. So here's Dan Campbell on one of our sister stations in Detroit talking about how maybe the team has gotten a little too fat on their own success after winning 11 in a row, and they got to get hungry again.
You know, what happens is you get used to eating filet, and I'm talking to all of us, and well, everything's good, life's good, you know, but you forgot what it was like when you had nothing and you ate your molded bread, you know, and it was just fine, and it gave you everything you needed. And sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth and remember what it used to be like to really appreciate where you are, and we'll do that.
Okay, more from Dan Campbell this morning on the team moving forward.
I don't give a crap if we got to win by 1 point for the rest of the year. That's what we're going to do, and I'm going to be happy about it. We come out of the game with 50 yards of total offense, and we win by 1, you're going to see smiles on my face, I promise you. All right? If it's the other way defensively, we give up 700 yards, and we win by 1 point, you're going to see a smile from my ear to ear. All right? I can promise you.
Okay, I think the big question, so Dan Campbell on Detroit radio this morning, obviously, fired up. Can he back this up? Is this just words, or do you think Dan Campbell can back this up? Will the team all of a sudden get hungry again after he says they were punched in the mouth? And can the team win in a variety of different ways? He's saying whether it's the defense leading the way or the offense. Can he actually back up any of these claims?
Well, I think there's a huge grain of truth here because they were so flat in the first quarter against Buffalo. They came out like they were not engaged. Like, remember the first 3 drives of Buffalo? They just stormed right down the field. And I actually thought to myself, I'm like, why do the Lions feel like they're flat? This is a home game for them. So I think that's what he's addressing. Yeah, I mean, I think this will actually wake them up. I mean, you saw then, okay, so they fall behind. The desperation on that team was incredible the rest of the game. Like, those drives, like, man, I don't, as a NFC team, I don't want to see that second half Lions offense coming at me.
Yeah, but to be honest, I thought the desperation led to the biggest mistake of the game, and that was Dan Campbell's call to go for the onside kick way too early in the fourth quarter. I do not think that Dan Campbell can back this up, and it's not because of him. It's because this team is too injured. It has been too many injuries on the defense. It's now David Montgomery gone on the offense, and I know you have Jahmyr Gibbs, but you have just lost too much. Unfortunately, you're not going to be peaking at the right time. And I know that ended up being a close game against Buffalo, and it was a one-score game, and it was a fun game, exciting. But I don't think that he can back this up, where he's saying, we got to get hungry again, and this and that. I think it's less about mentality and more about who do you have left? Who are the bodies you have left on defense? Because if you are just going to be like we saw against Buffalo, you can't afford one slip up, one drive, and you don't connect, or the first 3 drives, and you don't score. You're playing catch up the entire way, and it's just not a formula to win.
You know, I think the only reason that game got close to the end is because of that onside kick. Because instead of having a 4-minute touchdown drive, the Bills had a 1-play touchdown drive, and the Lions, that saved a lot of clock because the Lions were not stopping the Bills. Nope. I mean, Josh Allen said, Josh Allen doesn't care about getting hit, so he can run on any time he wants. There's no way they were going to stop him. Actually, that worked out fine. Because what was the alternative? If he didn't do an onside kick, the Bills get their 30 and have a 4-minute touchdown drive. Because the Lions, you're right about the personnel, but there is this desperate, scratching Lions offense that does scare me. I mean, they are hard because they have so many weapons. Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Jahmyr Gibbs as a passing weapon. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's not nothing. And I think that desperation, like, he needs to get that back. I totally understand where he's coming from.
You're right. They came out flat, which is inexcusable. But I get it. It happens. Teams left their foot off the gas. But here they are in a 3-way tie for the top of the NFC with your Eagles and now with the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, they hold the tiebreaker. But this is going to be a crazy fight here at the end. And while the Lions have this quick strike offense that you mentioned, they can score in 20 seconds. But if you can't stop the run, you're going to run into a very similar problem that you did against Buffalo, which is if with a Liam McNeil out and missing guys on the defensive line, your opponent can just control the game. And the Bills' lines of scrimmage are not being confused with like number one lines of scrimmage in the league, and they looked really good in that game. And the offensive line for the Bills is good, and they've put a lot of resources in the defense. I'm not saying they're scrubs, but they looked really good in controlling at least 3/4 of that game.
Right, but that was a lot of Josh Allen running, though. He had 11 carries. So, yes, the mobile quarterback will be a problem. On third down, like, there was no running on third down. It was Josh Allen running and either getting a flag or getting a first down. So, I'm not sure anybody can stop that. I mean...
Yeah, the Bills are getting 6 yards of carry on first down.
Yeah.
It was setting them up beautifully.
Yeah, but then eventually, like, whenever they did get him in third down, Allen would just move around and cause total havoc for the Lions defense. Yeah, I mean, I think you're actually discounting the opponent here. The Bills were pretty good offensively. I'm not sure the Lions will face an offense that good.
855-212-4227. Well, Dan Campbell's got him fired up. So here it is the rest of the way for Detroit. At Chicago, at San Francisco, and then what could be a winner-take-all for the division and the number one overall seed in the NFC, Minnesota, that final game of the regular season.
I don't know what it says. I'm just rambling right now.
At Chicago, that's a get-right game if I ever saw one.
Yes. EJ Stewart, thank you. Manny Rodriguez, thank you. The advice is free, Manny. Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos, and the Coffee Drinkers. You guys on the phones were fantastic today as well. See you tomorrow.